How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to episode 5 of King's Court. This time it's there's a queen.
Hello. Hello.
No. That's the name of the podcast. This time there's a queen. I love it. With I'm Brendan. With me today is Jordan,
Hi.
Nick,
Hello.
Caleb,
Hey,
and the aforementioned queen, Venti.
Hello.
So, how's everybody doing today?
I'm doing a-okay. Let's go through the rounds because I have before I start my thing, I have a story about work.
Oh yeah, here we go.
And
We love
I have
work
a story
stories.
today.
Did you get locked out of a truck this week?
I did not. I did not.
I say this week as if it's a different week. We'll get to that in a bit.
Don't break the illusion. Don't break the illusion.
It's live. I can't cut it out. So how was everybody else's day?
My day's been pretty good. I woke up in a hotel at 6 a.m. to a fire alarm, but it was okay because the hotel wasn't on fire. The people are just retarded. But it wasn't very fun. It wasn't a very fun experience. I literally it took me an embarrassing amount of time to realize it was a fire alarm because I was still just in bed. I'm running off of 3 hours of sleep because I went to bed at 3 a.m.
yo, sorry, I
just
saw
hear that.
Jordan's hair and thought there was a fire.
You mean yours?
Either or.
Uh,
I
yeah.
looked in a mirror.
Yeah,
Ginger.
you
Looked in a
ginger.
mirror.
Yeah.
But overall,
Everybody
it was
point and
pretty
laugh.
fine. Yeah, and then my friend drove me home, and so pretty much nothing eventful happened from here on out. No, that's pretty much it. It has been good though.
Oh, another thing to mention for the
Yeah,
viewers.
so she woke up in a fever dream is what we're
Yeah,
That's
I
what
do
we're
like that.
hearing.
Like, I woke up in a hotel. There was no explanation of how I got to the hotel, but I
yeah.
did wake up in a hotel. And you know what? We're gonna keep it that way. No.
she woke up this morning
Don't
feeling
give
like
any
P.
more
Diddy.
information.
Alright.
No, bro, she woke up this morning feeling like P. Diddy.
Yeah. A key thing to note.
My glasses head out the door. I'm gonna hit the city.
Key thing to note, Vente is the only one out of this group that we've introduced so far into the podcasts, at least, that is not a Canadian citizen, and they do not live
I'm also
within
not.
Canada.
A man.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
They
It's,
are in fact from South
yeah.
Canada.
Yeah, South Canada.
Here's the thing:
California.
only men exist in Canada. It's all lumberjacks.
Yeah,
That
no,
when you
it's
step
all
across
men.
the border, you start to transform within a year.
And we all look like Hugh Jackman.
Oh, of
Will I be
course.
For
do I
no,
have to
re-
I mean,
no
wear-
real reason, but when we find Ryan Reynolds, he talks to us, right? Because he thinks we're Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman.
Yeah.
His
Yeah,
best
'cause
friend Hugh
we're
Jackman.
all Hugh Jackman.
Do I
It's
have
weird that
to-
he's a Canadian that doesn't look like Hugh Jackman, but I mean, hey, what?
Well,
it's
he is
whatever.
He's
Reynolds,
like, you know how Ganondorf is the one male.
And Alanis Morissette doesn't look like.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's like a Ganondorf situation.
Yeah, it's like a
Alanis Morissette.
Ganondorf. It has
Dude,
been
I
going
don't
by in,
know
like,
famous
every
people enough.
10,000 years to come so
I,
far.
I,
Dude, speaking of Alanis Morissette,
have we explained this bit?
I don't think we've explained it before,
Should we
but that might have
explain
been in
this
our older recordings that
I
aren't
th-
seen.
So to interrupt how everyone's week is going, back in the
We're gonna
day
talk
when
about
Jordan and I were
Alanis
working
Morissette.
overnights, yeah, we had a very long, arduous conversation over several days over whether or not Alanis Morissette's hit song "Ironic," if she knew it was irony or if it was like, or if it was like fake irony.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
sat-
we
if
had
it was
like a
satirical.
3-day long discussion about it, and it got pretty almost heated. Like we almost got a divorce over this until I finally looked it up, and
Yeah. So we looked it up, and it's
It's
supposed
same
to be a sense of dramatic irony.
which only ever occurs if you ever listen to that song a second time. So when you listen to it for the first time, you're like, this isn't irony. Is it looking back on it and you're like, oh, I get it. But I'm almost certain it
Oh.
was her manager covering for her. Like, oh,
Oh, absolutely was. Like, nobody's gonna fucking get this.
Dude, I'm
actually
lost.
inside the brains. But
Me
so
too.
she
Isn't
came
it
to
ironic?
Rock the Park.
Don't you think? Yeah. So Rock the Park had her in it, and this was after we were done working at the LCBO together on nights. But I messaged him and I was like, "Bro,
We gotta go to Rock the Park," which we
Yeah.
didn't. I didn't end up going to Rock the Park,
I didn't."
but I was in a game cycle, and I hadn't even been downtown. Like I hadn't even known Rock the Park was going on, and I went to like a game cycle, and they were like, "Oh, did you guys go to Rock the Park or whatever?" And me and my buddy were there. I was like, "Rock the Park's going on right now," and he's like, "Yeah, dude. Like they just played like Alanis Morissette like yesterday," and I was like, "No!"
And isn't that ironic?
Don't
Dude,
you think?
isn't it ironic? So we also called
Maybe the true
ourselves the
irony was
the
friends
Alanis
we made
Morissette.
along the way.
Oh, yeah. The Alanis Morissette Appreciation Channel.
Yeah, we are the Alanis Morissette Appreciation Channel, and we have to redeem ourselves to call ourselves that because we weren't there in her time of need when she was at Rock the Park.
I know. That's unfortunate. Really
Anyway,
sad.
Caleb and Nick, how's your shit going?
I'm doing wet because I had to walk outside in the lane to move a table from one
Hey, yo,
house to
pardon?
another house.
All right.
That's well. Hopefully that was.
Hopefully
is it
you
a good-
dry up.
It took
Yeah,
about
oh my
that long. It was a house it was a house 5 minutes away to a separate house that was also 5 minutes away. It was not a long process.
Nick, I think you're the first person to have ever described themselves as "I'm doing wet" in a non-sexual manner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick straight up got moist, but like not the good kind.
No, he was
Yeah,
he
like-
was
like the clothes, like
yeah.
humid air,
see-
kind of.
Yeah.
At least it's like, it's good. It's easy for him because Nick has the constitution of like a towel, so he could just get himself wringed out after he got wet.
Well, no, it's fine. Nick's a vampire. The clouds were out, so he was able to move the table
Oh,
from
fair,
one to
fair,
the
fair,
other.
fair.
My
What
secret
isn't
is,
Nick at this point? Like Nick's a cyborg. Nick's a.
I've never heard
heck-
the cyborg theory, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, what
Oh,
are they gonna
sorry, I
cyborg?
didn't mean
When
to.
did that
I didn't mean to
happen?
expose your secret, Nick.
Oh shit.
I mean Andrew Tate.
was-
It
that
was a
was
little-
on the floor. We didn't know.
No, we can't get banned. No.
I know.
Can't get him banned on Instagram and Twitter. They hated him for he spoke the truth.
Okay.
I kind of don't even want to pretend that Andrew Tate had any good points.
Yeah.
It was
I'm in the
just-
same boat.
It's just sad because like the content was like funny to look at.
Oh, he is the
Like-
funniest person
Like,
to make fun
with
of.
like
yeah.
all the stupid edits and stuff you
But
see
hold
on
on,
TikTok.
I don't think his clip channels are banned. I think it's just he is.
I think
Yeah.
it's just him. So the
Like,
clips
his
will keep on
also-
running.
The clips
banned.
will
He's
keep
gonna
on
hit
rolling,
one
but
coming
now
and
it's
coming
just
and
going to be
coming
him
and coming.
salty about getting banned off those platforms, which isn't going to be funny. It's just going to be
Yeah.
like, oh, they're not alpha enough to, and then it's just like, oh man.
No, that's the funniest part actually. Is that immediately after he got banned, he went on Aiden Ross's stream to whine about it. He didn't even do like he whined about it. He was like, I was gonna donate a bunch of money to women's charities. I love women. I've always loved women. Even
Oh yeah, so
Sure,
he
buddy.
so he went
Oh,
he fucking
now it is.
backpedaled hard.
Sure,
backpedal and
buddy.
hold. I mean, you could have backpedaled hodl, but like
He came down with a
backpedaled
case of
hard.
Schrodinger's douchebag.
Schrodinger's douchebag.
That's my favorite term to describe people. So if anyone in the audience doesn't know what Schrodinger's douchebag is, it's when somebody determines if something was a joke or not after seeing the reaction from the audience.
So funny. Just Schrodinger's
So,
anything is like
Yeah, Schrodinger's anything is pretty good.
hilarious.
Ugh.
Caleb, how was your day?
Aw.
Big boy, big
Aw.
man, little
my
man.
dad. You done?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm done.
All right. Jesus Christ. Now that actually fucking I've been like struggling to keep like a coherent string of thoughts. They're like fucking marbles right now in my brain, right? And Jordan was just like fucking blew all over them and just they're all gone.
He showed
What fucking
up.
metaphor is this?
This is a bad metaphor because my brain is marbles.
He's
I'm
losing his marbles.
oh,
That's the metaphor.
Well, I mean, we did have a version of this in one of our Pokemon randomizer,
oh my
which-
god!
in which the entire episode is Caleb losing his mind that we have him trapped
Yeah,
in the basement editing.
like slowly. It's great
Like,
because the
the
beginning of the
entire thing
episode.
just-
No. The beginning of the episode is fine, and then by the end of it, I actually was laughing nonstop for about 30 minutes. Like I couldn't
it was
stop.
scary, dog.
And Brennan was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Ha no."
Oh.
It's like fucking
Oh.
losing.
Like what happens to me every now and then. Because every now and then
I don't know what happens to you, but
No, it's happened on VC a couple of times. Caleb
Oh,
was
yeah,
there for,
yeah.
I think a couple of them. But every now and then, like, I will just lose my shit over something, and I will laugh to the point where, like, my cortex hurts, and I'm, like, literally crying. And
Yeah.
I just keep laughing.
like your
and
frontal cortex. or
And
something, buddy?
every
No,
fuck-
Every
I meant to
fuck.
say, I meant core, as in, like body cortex.
Yeah.
Not
No.
brain.
but every
I mean-
time this has
I've
happened,
never
Wait.
heard
I
Nice.
uh,
talk about their
Wait.
body as a cortex.
I just
Wait a minute.
keep repeating the joke until Vente's like actually like dying and in pain from laughing. It's very fun.
Yeah.
Like a horrible thing to do.
It's well, it's not even the joke that a
It's
lot
like
of the
the
time
good
it's not
kind
even
of
the
torture.
joke that gets
Holy
me. So
shit, you got loud.
sometimes I'll laugh at my own laughter, which is a horrible, cruel cycle.
Oh no.
I hate it when that
It's the
happens.
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Art of
Anyways,
self-destruction.
oh my god, that is a very niche reference that we're not going to explain. But if you get it, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, dude, totally comment us if you got that reference.
Yeah, dude.
And while you're at it, feel free to like and subscribe and click the
Yeah,
bell.
share it with your friends.
Yeah.
Also,
Sure.
look at the description to see if we
Yo,
put anything-
hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button.
I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need
With
you
the social
to.
media plug.
I'm gonna need you to pile drive that subscribe button.
Also, go
Send this to
patreon.com.
your grandma.
That like button like your mom that taught you right.
Hey,
Also,
I got
you
that
can
reference.
go to my PayPal at FastSoundEA@PayPal.com and donate. Put $20 in there.
Fucking PayPal, did you just
It said the...
A different YouTube.
I'm just gonna publicly announce my Venmo.
Do we have
and
to
y'all
cut
can
out
just
the
put money in
No,
there.
Dude, subscribe to my OnlyFans.
Okay.
you'll see Brennan's dumpy and a him.
No, you only see the
It's
dumpy.
pictures of him.
The dumpy's too big.
Anyways, so otherwise, I have started my new job, and I don't. So someone was asking Brennan, "Yo, when's the next Pokemon episode coming out?" Because and I will try and get them out this coming week. So the week that this podcast goes up. So because of my my new job, it's alternating between mornings and nights. So we can't actually record on the same time that we'd like to every week. So we're essentially having to record twice on one week and put one of the recordings out and then the other out on the next week.
We're gonna
And
be so far behind on the local news.
yeah,
I have no idea.
not that we talk about that much right now anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. But that's also why I haven't been putting many videos out, because I've just been generally kind of tired because it's like 10-hour days. Although I haven't hit the 10-hour days yet. It's just been fucking early in the morning, and it's a drive for me, so I'm getting up at like 4:30 in the morning, which is rough, to say the least.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's
And I'm
nasty.
going to be getting up at
It's
3:30
nasty.
next week because, you know, I'll be starting at the right time then. They only put you on 8 hours for the first week. But anyways, so I should be getting more videos out pretty soon. Sorry that they haven't been coming out. Hopefully I'll have some out this week, fingers crossed. Or this coming, well, the week that this goes out. So hopefully they'll be out, fingers crossed.
Or-
But
yeah, they might have come up
We
before
ha-
this
we
because
have a
this
lot of-
airs Friday.
the nice thing is we have
Or
a
we
lot
try
of
to air it
stuff.
Friday.
We have a lot of stuff recorded, and for me at least in editing, the harder part is recording than editing, because there's several reasons for this. Making the actual time to get the recordings down, making sure the recordings work properly, all this different stuff, but also like I can be in like a bad mood or whatever, or it doesn't matter for the editing, and I can still make it good, but like the energy needs to be high during a recording. So there's like that factor that's more like a much more difficult, you know what I mean? To do the actual
and even
recordings.
beyond that, scheduling, because like
Yeah,
especially with exactly. It's like since you're on nights, we just can't do stuff for the weeks you're on nights, except if it's on the weekend. So it's
Yeah.
good that we do have that log of stuff that we can do.
Yeah.
And hey, at least it gives you the time to do the editing, even if you're like dreary or in a shit mood. You don't have to amp up. You don't have to start burning yourself out to start recording.
Yeah, but that being said, the Pokemon. So when we're recording this, the Pokemon Championships ended yesterday or today.
They ended today.
Yeah,
the video game championships ended today, and we have not seen it yet.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching this throughout the week while I'm doing the editing. So we will talk about that on next week's recording. So
yeah,
there's not much. Sorry, it's going to be a little bit before we get to that. But I just haven't had time. It's 11 hours per day, and there's like 4 days. Even if I were to just go over the important parts, which I don't want to do, I want to go over the whole thing more or less. That's a lot of content to consume. So I will get around to that because I do want to talk about what our predictions were correct and which ones weren't.
We'll definitely hit that up with the next one.
Yeah. Otherwise, so like. I guess my week is more or less a general overview of what's going forward with the channel to an extent, because I'm the one editing. Otherwise, it's been fine, guys. It's been pretty good. I'm working with a bunch of Jamaicans, and I love Jamaicans. I love Jamaica. I've been there a couple times, and they're just like
Jamaican and crazy.
They are Jamaican.
Good
crazy.
Good one, dude.
Thanks.
They
I
are.
don't know if anyone would appreciate the joke.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun. I'm working with, like, the team lead. I'm working with his brother, and then the dad also works at the plant. So, it's pretty fun.
Daddy. Daddy.
Oh, man.
Daddy.
Anyways, with that being said, let us introduce our friend. What the fuck? Well, Cora in the background.
Oh yeah, Cora's playing Overwatch right now, I think. Yeah, she's playing Overwatch right now.
So let us introduce Vente. What's been going on with you?
I mean, she already said that she woke up in a hotel with a fire alarm going on.
Yeah, but is there anything else? The only other time Vente's been on the on our content is for Stray, which we got to get back to at some point.
Yeah,
Sure.
I was actually gonna ask you that.
Ask him right now in front of everybody. It'll make him nervous.
Well, I was thinking about doing it after the podcast just because I didn't want to. Like,
Dude, just ask me right now. Ask me right the fuck now.
But I was wondering, like, when you did want to do that.
Either this week or next week.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna be starting college soon because
Congratulations.
I'd rather do community college than worry about a job right now, and I could do both, but I cannot multitask very well.
If you can avoid doing both, I would suggest
It's better.
Yeah, I would
gonna-
absolutely suggest not doing both.
Plus, I think I like college more than I like high school simply because
You will, with almost 100% certainty, you will.
just like even if I do have to do the science, and I probably won't have to do science, but like if I have to do like an English and math course with my college, that'll be fine. I'm expecting to have to do that because I want to do a somewhat odd combination of just music and welding for majors, I guess.
You're just making music, but I just like putting it into a diss track or shit.
Well, I mainly want to have welding in case I ever need a job that pays well, because I don't have to like always be doing welding necessarily, but like if I ever need a job that's usually in high demand, pretty much is needed everywhere, and pays pretty well, then I can have that for whenever it's needed. But I'm also
It's definitely great security to have that, especially
yeah,
a trade.
yeah. It's
You'll
You'll have incorrect because ABW always be welding.
Dude,
I would.
always
if
be
it-
welding.
The only issue is it's super fucking taxing.
Big
Like,
weld?
even doing just basic welds is taxing. let
Yo,
alone
we
the
yo
actual-
now we know that Nick is secretly
Which
a
I
member of
haven't
Big Weld.
done any
I'm
of
a
that.
Oh
Christian
no, my
mom
secret is
big
out.
weld.
My seventh secret for the episode is out.
Thank you, Andrew Tate.
Always big weld. Do we
Always
have like
Big
two
Weld.
sides of a faction war going on now?
Yeah, we really do. It's Venti and Nick, or Venti and Andrew Tate over there versus the rest of us.
Of
I do welding while I'm at my job. Jeez.
damn.
Oh,
All right,
what
Brandon.
type of welding?
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
well,
want to.
you and
Okay,
me
if I say the welding, I guess there could be multiple in London. It's window frame welding. Like I not the like it's not primarily what I'm doing, but I've helped out a lot around in that place too, in that department.
I meant like as in like is it like MIG or
Yo, now they're throwing around welding terms.
You
I'm
mean
not
like-
qualified
It would
for
be
this.
MIG
A lot of
I
welding?
only build garage.
MIG
walls.
welding
yeah.
or what other welding? Like cold welding? Are you talking about?
it could be
cold
arc
welding, there's arc welding.
Yeah, well, cold welding doesn't fucking exist. I'm sorry to break this to you.
I was about to
Cold-
say.
yeah, well.
I was about to say cold welding is.
Cold welding
I
is
haven't
not a
heard about
real
that.
thing.
It's called freezing.
No, cold welding is not a
Cold
real
welding isn't
thing.
real. It can't hurt
I
you.
don't think you can weld if it's
No,
cold.
no. It's called a cold weld because they don't heat the metal up enough for it to actually fuse. It just
that.
it's
yeah,
just
bad.
you're not welding properly.
It's
But
a bad.
but
weld.
there
Yeah,
was like
it's a-
it's a shitty weld. It's a cold weld.
You just
But
do
there
it
was
in
a whole
fucking
thing
log.
a while online about people basically showing cold welds, and then the actual weld they would have done it properly behind the camera. So people thought, oh, you can weld because it's so much faster. It was just ridiculous. It
Yeah.
was dumb.
It just
God,
doesn't.
yeah.
Just doesn't do it.
I
Same
don't.
thing if it's too hot. If it's too hot, it'll be brittle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a machine that does most of the welding there for us.
Okay.
Anyway,
So-
Jordan, I heard you
I
had
think
a
it's.
bit
I
to.
think it's
We're talking about
a
welding.
MIG weld, but it could be an
It's
arc.
either MIG or TIG, one of the two. Most likely, if it's a machine.
Yeah, I think it's a MIG weld. From the look of it,
Welding because Brennan tried to, but it didn't.
If it's a
work.
machine running CNC,
No,
it's
I
a
won't
MIG.
be overshot this time. I cannot fail what Brennan
It's
failed.
Nick.
I have to be better than him.
Of course.
Moving on.
all right. Topics, boys.
topic. Oh, I have a topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
How do you guys?
Jordan's been waiting on a bit. For
How do
the
you
entire
guys
time.
feel? How do you guys feel about like mind shit?
Like
Can you
literally.
read a little bit more specific?
Games or, like-
yeah, something like that. Like something along the lines of like I can kind of read your mind kind of thing.
Oh, so not lithium.
Oh, so what
Okay,
I do
I
to
need-
Jordan on a
Are we
daily.
talking about like real people?
No,
no,
saying
it's-
secrets, or like
It's just
premises
a list of
fiction, like,
things.
what are we working with here?
It's just a list of things that I have here beside me just now, and I'm gonna read them off to you, and then you're gonna think of them, and then I'm gonna give you an answer.
Okay.
Okay.
And the word's the word.
Yes,
All right.
Yeah, let's do this.
All right.
So everybody, I want everybody to
Okay.
do this. Everybody at home to do this as well.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
everyone, let's
I'm
play
at
along.
Yeah, all
I'm at
23 of
home.
our listeners.
Yes, but
Yeah, yeah,
maybe whatever. Okay. Do not tell me these answers. Just think of them in your head.
Okay, Dad.
A number
Yeah,
between.
I know all you fuckers at home are gonna start telling them. Don't.
Yeah, yeah. Don't put it
I
in
don't
the
want to see the
comments,
comments, bro. All right. A number between 2 and 8.
Is that it? Are we done?
Oh, no. Like you
Does
can
it-
tell me when you've thought of it.
Yeah.
Does it have to?
Yeah,
Does
okay.
it have to be a whole number?
It's a number between
right,
2
don't be-
and 8.
Don't be difficult.
Come on now.
Okay. Yes, he said.
Okay.
Let me put it
Okay,
differently.
okay.
An integer between 2.
Yeah.
Okay,
And-
there
and-
we
and
go.
between
All
2 and
right,
8,
there
yeah.
we go. Now I can't be a smart.
Doesn't have to be a whole
Multiply
number.
that number by 9.
Divided.
Uh,
Sorry, what was that?
Multiply the number that you were thinking of between 2 and 8. Multiply that number by 9.
Okay.
Dude, I haven't done this in so
Okay.
long. I can't mental math that. Give me a sec. I'm way too tired. Let me pull up a
Pull out a
calculator.
Oh,
calculator.
I'm
No,
smart.
no one
Yes,
can
okay,
see it, I don't
alright.
care.
I have done division.
Well, you're not gonna get calculators in the
multiplication.
real world,
It's
guys.
multiplication. You're
I don't know why I
not
almost
me
said
with my
division.
phone in my pocket.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Okay, does everybody have it?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so it's going to be a double-digit number. Add those two digits together.
What?
Alright.
Give me an example.
Okay.
Every number
So-
times 9 is at
So
least
the
2
number
digits.
that you're gonna get
Yeah.
will always be a double-digit number. So take the first number and the second number in the ones and the tens column and
Yeah.
add those two numbers together.
Like both as ones.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh my
I
god.
think
yes.
I know where
so,
I think
So
I know
so
where this
so
is going.
so this isn't my number, but if it
Bro.
was, for example, 12, it would be 3.
It would be 1 plus 2, yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I think I know.
Subtract that number by 5.
Mhm.
the number that we just added together, right?
That number you just
Yeah.
added together, subtract 5.
Okay.
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 Okay. Find where that number sits on the alphanumeric scale.
The
What does
what?
that
1 being
mean?
A, 2 being B,
Okay,
3 being
so-
C.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay. Think of a country that begins with that letter.
Okay.
The last letter of that country, name an animal. Or don't name it, think of one. Sorry.
Wait,
Think.
hold on.
Okay. So think of an animal based off the last letter of the country.
Yes.
How is there? Wait.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got it. Okay, hold on.
I got one.
And then now I just need to think of an animal. Okay.
Yep.
Just the
How does
first
this
one you
work
think
with
of.
so many people?
Okay, I got it. I got an animal.
Do you guess each of us individually or all of us at once?
All of you at once. And the
Okay.
last letter of that animal, think of a color.
All right,
Okay.
I got a color.
Hold on. Hold on, that's actually a step. One second.
No,
Next, the next got
that's
some
actually a
difficulties.
step.
We got it? Are we
No.
good? You
I
can't
have
think of a
one.
color?
Nick and Andrew Tate has got to think of his. real quick.
Entertain.
What the fuck
Yeah,
is this,
okay.
Jordan?
Okay.
Got it. Got it.
Denmark kangaroo orange.
No.
Yeah.
Oh!
Got him!
What the
No.
fuck?
Okay, the thing is,
Nope.
I
What
realized
the
that.
fuck, Jordan?
Bitch. Denmark.
Jordan!
Denmark
What the fuck?
indigo.
I'm glad it worked on one of you. I'm glad
It worked.
on one of
No,
you.
it worked on me too. But the
Oh!
thing is
Yeah, it worked on two of
I
you.
know that all of the pretty much all of the numbers that you allowed us to pick from, times them by 9, and then if you were to then put them together, they would make 9.
Yep,
Like
and then
if you
every
put the
time you
yeah.
every time you would add those two digits together, you would always get 4.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. After
D.
you subtracted the 5. Yeah.
So I'm actually curious for the ones that it didn't work on. What were your
I
answers?
cheated because I knew what you were doing.
So you're a punk bitch.
I didn't actually pick a country. I went with the animal electric eel because that's what I thought so here's the thing. I saw something like this literally the other day, and the process sounded identical, and I got myself into the letter E, so I just assumed that's where it was going. So I went with electric eel because before I picked elephant and I got. So this time I went with electric
Oh,
eel.
so you were cheating because you knew what I was
So
doing, but
you-
not the
Yes,
You tried to-
yes, but you didn't predict
Okay,
that.
you tried.
No,
You
I
tried,
still
you tried to
beat
game the system. Okay, that makes sense.
What did you do, Brendan? What did you would?
What was
Uh,
yours?
He did catch me on Denmark, but he did not catch me on. I did koala and indigo.
Koala? Yeah.
Oh
No, sorry. I went kiwi and indigo. Sorry.
Kiwi.
yeah, it's a
The
bird.
I know what a kiwi is. It's just a very
The fuck?
obscure. People either
Yeah,
say
of course it's
kangaroo
obscure.
or koala.
You're trying to read my mind. You
I
gotta
mean, if
get
you
in
if
here.
you
gotta
ask
live
me,
like me.
a kangaroo is
Although-
pretty obscure
Although
too.
I kind of figured I wouldn't be able
Not
to get
absurdly.
you. I'm actually surprised that I got any of you. I thought like you guys would have like heard this before.
Oh, I knew where you were going, but I wanted you to be happy.
Thank you. At least somebody
Oh, that's
cares.
sweet. I didn't. I didn't want you to be
Aw.
happy.
I didn't know about the Denmark kangaroo orange part. That was just simply I literally was like, what the hell is it? Oh, I should have done Komodo dragon.
You know what? It actually fills my heart
Damn it.
when
What color
Caleb
would
like
you have gone for
exploded
N?
with like.
Uh, Neanderthal orange. I don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
too tired, man.
That's a take. Okay.
Well, the good news is Jordan wouldn't have gotten me for either of my guesses because remember my other one was koala.
Yeah.
I don't know which color I would go for A, but
Australian animal.
You can go for almond milk white.
And that's the show, guys. We'll see you.
you get the fuck out of my podcast.
And
You're
that's
gonna have to get
it.
the fuck out of my podcast
No,
right now.
please no. Obey.
Almond milk white. What even?
Almond
like
Milk
what?
white.
What like I don't know. Color is that? Is that like
I don't know.
between like
It's like
snow
beige.
white and eggshell white? Like
It's
like
it's right before tan.
how
Dog.
brown is the
I do
almond
not-
milk you're drinking?
Brown is the almond milk you drink.
I don't know, bro. I get like Earth's Own, and that shit's like pretty white. Like I don't know. I don't know.
I've
what you-
interacted
Wait,
with almond milk a
what?
solid
Okay,
3
what
times
is
in my
The
entire
brand,
life.
Earth's Own. I don't buy Silk.
Earth's own?
Earth's Own, yes, because
Yeah.
it's
I,
Earth's own
I
shit.
think
Yeah, welcome to the fucking milk episode of the podcast, ladies.
Welcome to the
Yo,
Hickey
fuck your
podcast.
zodiac sign. What kind of almond
Milk are you
milk do you
drinking,
have?
bro?
what kind of almond? I like vanilla.
Yo, at the end
I
of the
drink it
hot
from
day-
the cow.
I drink it
From
straight
the
from the
cow,
almond.
from the store.
I drink it straight from the almond.
You press your own almonds over there, Caleb?
Yeah, I milk my own almonds.
Hell yeah.
Can I get a drink?
Isn't it kind of fucked that extracting venom is called snake milking or like venom milking?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that sounds disgusting.
yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get.
That sounds like an innuendo.
It's
That sounds
certainly
like a
not.
video.
But like that's an actual like profession. Like
Snake milk?
Yeah, dude, when someone's like, I'm a
Venom out of this
snake.
venomous snake, he's like, yeah, you got it.
He's like, I'm a snake milker, and you don't know if he's in the sex industry or actually like milk snakes.
Well, I think if you looked at his attire, you could tell from that alone.
I don't
See,
know.
I was gonna say that, but that's so like shallow. Why would you say that?
No, dude.
Yeah.
Well-
The leather club is 2 doors down.
Fuck you.
You'd know.
It doesn't
Oh,
have to
man.
be shallow.
It
How
doesn't
about
have to
you,
be shallow,
Sex
but
worker.
How about you get
Um,
off that jabroni outfit you got there, Brennan? We'll settle this in the ring right here.
All right, time to strip down to our speedos, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna get hot and hefty in here.
I bet.
I'll show
I
you who's the
bet.
boss of this gym.
Holy,
Good
holy
God.
jumping! You guys are something else. I'm glad
Thanks.
Brennan found me in a ditch, and I'm glad that I met Nick a long time ago before I met Brennan. You know, like this
Dude.
is
I'm
Jordan,
glad that I stumbled
Jordan,
onto
I don't
this
know.
on
Ever
my
since
phone.
I met you, my girlfriend broke up with me. I had to get a new
my
job.
God,
I
dude,
dropped.
no.
I dropped out of school. I don't know if I'm glad I met you.
Oh man.
Well, Caleb,
Your
you're fine. There
fucking
can only be one
bro's
ginger
life
in a
fell
friend
apart.
group, and Jordan is simply absorbing all of your positive elements into himself.
Yeah, he is
third, like,
I'm becoming
subsuming you.
another freckle upon his skin.
Yeah, he's subsuming you.
my ginger powers don't work on you, fellow ginger.
Oh, they're super effective. It's like dragon
Gee.
types.
It's not
Ginger
like dragon
immunity.
type.
No, it's like ice.
dragon type.
It's like ice types. We only resist each other, and that's fucking it.
You can't cast dark
Only
magic on
resist
another
each other.
ginger.
Holy.
Man,
Yeah.
your guys' couples therapy
We,
is gonna be fun.
resist each other so much that even on the day we were supposed to meet, fate looked down upon it and was like, "Nah, Brennan's getting fucked up on this
You
gummy right
Fate, it was not fate, it was
You
Jordan.
return.
It was
He
Brennan.
returned.
Yes, I am fate.
No, you're stupid.
I am he controls the hands of time.
now." Brennan was just jealous that I would make out with Caleb longer than Caleb made out with him, so he was like, "I gotta put an end
I
to
thought you were
this."
gonna say longer than Cora makes
didn't
out
even-
with Brennan.
I don't know, man. I think I already beat that record meeting Jordan.
You fucked me while recording.
Oh man!
God damn
I told you
Here
not
it
to do
goes. Here
that.
it goes again. No. So here's a bit I forgot. I lost the train of thought for this bit, but it came back when he said that. We, the podcast, the King's Court Bingo. If Caleb says he fucked me while recording, is on that bingo card,
Oh man!
And we also
as well as Nick's hot takes.
as well as Nick saying that reminds me of as like the center thing, because that will happen every episode.
Does that
I don't
remind you
know
of
what.
anything?
Does that?
What's the free space?
That was the free space.
It doesn't-
Nick,
that-
you
that
don't
is
have to
the-
have a thing on free space. You just
That-
Yeah,
no,
it's literally just called free space.
the free space is
But I
Nick
wanna
saying.
see some
No,
sort of
the
joke.
free
No,
space
but
is.
it's not guaranteed though.
Oh, it's pretty guaranteed.
And I mean, he's Caltrops, but so
I
he's
mean,
not gonna.
we
not
should
gonna
we
do
take
it.
too long to talk about hard to L weeks before we start the podcast.
I was gonna.
We'll
Yeah,
come up
it's
with a
it's
bingo card.
yeah. We'll come up with a bingo card and air it alongside the next podcast or something.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. Dot your
Special
stream
guest,
on the next podcast.
special guest is gonna be one of the corners.
Yeah. Well, no. Closer to the center, we have to have special guests gets talked over for 90% of the podcast.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Special guest goes unheard.
Oh my god. Hey, Vente, can I ask you to
Wow.
pull the mic slightly away from your face? I can hear your. Oh, that's
I
way
know
too
that's
far.
not
That's
me.
the. Oh, I could be Brennan.
My God, it's like it's
can-
like countries away, or like
Jordan, can I get you to stop for a sec? Let's do an audio thing. Vente, can you give me a? Okay, that's good.
Wow, you are. Wow.
wait. I want to do an audio thing on my own. I want to do an
Okay,
audio thing on my own.
fucking
Brennan, can
Jesus.
I get a hi?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You two are
Hell
fucking
yeah.
gay.
Always get- no. Hey, you were there in the empty. You were there in high school cafeteria. Auditorium. No, no. Okay, so all right, so I got to bring it all back to high school. At our high school, I'm not going to say the name. I almost did. We had a cafeteria auditorium. Like it was literally both. It was our cafeteria and we did our plays in there. So it was the cafetorium.
Oh,
That's such a funny name.
Well, that's the name. It's the combination of the two.
I know, but it's
So,
No, that was the official name. That's what everyone calls it. That's what it was.
So
The
in there in I think it was my grade 13. So victory lap, extra year, whatever everybody calls that. I was on the football team for a lot of high school, and we were playing Magic the Gathering as we always do, just a little bit of set dressing. But I got bored, and I said, "Let me get a Hoya" in the middle of the cafeteria,
Right.
and like the room exploded with people doing it. Like it was
Jesus.
not subtle.
yeah.
Yeah, we did
It was
that
it was
for
one
like
of my
2
most
weeks.
fun high school memories.
We did that for like 2 weeks, man.
It was great. No, that's one of my fondest high school memories.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have been friends with you in high school.
You're like
All right.
you were
I mean,
actually too much. You were too much of
I
a
had
troublemaker.
No, I had a different prerogative on like what funny was, and I had a very like pompous like attitude towards everything.
So you'd have been great friends with Nick.
Maybe.
I mean, Jordan totally would have joined the math class podcast, which
Oh, absolutely.
we haven't mentioned yet. Which is you know what? This is gonna be the high school episode.
You know what?
Is
This
this
will
a
be
high
called
school
the Math
episode?
Class Podcast.
No,
Class
I'll
podcast.
maybe, but
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
math class.
I still like this time. There's a queen. I think that's pretty funny. But the math
quick-
class podcast was Nick, myself, and someone else we knew, Antonina, who happened to be sitting beside us in math, and we would just disregard like the entire lesson, and we just talk. Like,
Now, I will important to note, she was not really much
No,
remember.
she was not willingly.
She was next to us and was forced to listen to us.
Yeah, she was not really a part of it. She was just in on the joke. But it was just Nick and I talking.
See,
It was
I remember that the joke
Aw.
between me and Nick was in chemistry. I would just like try and catch his eye and yawn at him, just to like.
I had forgotten about that until now. Ooh.
wow. Their couples therapy is going back to chemistry class, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey,
No, 'cause
yo.
he would
Jesus
do it just so that
Christ.
I would yawn in the middle of class, which like
Yeah, I get it.
is just slightly annoying, especially because I think that chemistry class particularly sucked because all chemistry teacher kind of sucked. So like it was already hard enough.
Was that
They started with a G.
the one who started
the
with
only
a G?
the only
Yeah.
chemistry teacher? Yeah.
Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that person was very nice and fun.
Yeah, that person
Oh,
was
yeah.
great. I'd go over and be like, "Hey, so is this or this at the end of class?" And then like 15 minutes later, I'd be like, okay, so is this is this because you didn't answer the question."
Yeah, not a good teacher. That G, not to be confused with the other G. Who,
My homie G.
That homie G.
my homie G. Yeah, but that person's not to be confused with the other G, who we made several jokes about, the vice principal.
Because just for the record, there's so many G's. Like
There's a lot of G's.
Oh man, maximize respect, minimize.
So he hilariously got the principal position not long after we
Yeah.
left, and then he moved pretty recently to a different high school in the same area.
Yeah, across the east to west border. He just went west.
Damn.
Yikes.
Damn.
Fun
I
making
had,
fun of him because he was like the most like if
He
you
was
listened
really good.
to him say anything like any kind of official announcement, you could hear the undertone of you're not allowed to have fun, like anti-fun.
Yeah.
Like obviously he said he like had rules that made sense to some degree, but like his like the way he presented everything was no fun. Even
Yeah,
his
it
like
was.
rules were like no fun.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of his actual announcements said that when I was skipping one time.
It may like I can't remember if I
I
ever
mean,
heard it
no,
Brennan's-
I mean, no,
Brennan's
I mean,
a
no, I
rebel,
never did that.
boys.
What do you mean?
Never skipped class. I've been late. I've never skipped.
Yo, same here.
I've only ever
Likewise.
skipped advocacy class, and that was because it's home row, but they have it in the middle of the goddamn day, and it's like they also started doing it when we had this like split lunch thing, where the freshmen
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
we
sophomores.
had one of those.
No, wait, the freshmen and the juniors would go out to lunch together, and then the sophomores and the seniors would do it. And it's just literally just a 15-minute class, and it's such a waste of time. And the teacher never even mentioned that when I would cut class, because he doesn't care either, because he knows it's useless.
Hell yeah.
So
I mean, like
That's a
he has to
fucking
put it
man
in
right
the
there.
book, obviously.
so Jordan,
But the school's not gonna
Yes?
do much.
was this what you expected with your topic?
Absolutely not. But I'm actually very disappointed that we're having this topic now because I'm more so left out of like the reminiscing kind of thing. But like if
have
my
it.
if a buddy of
Well,
mine was
we can go back
if buddy
to the
was
topic
here, like if we
before this,
decided that we were gonna put 6 people on the podcast and I asked my buddy to sit in, him and I would have stories because him and I went to high school together.
Well, we'll get your buddy at some point then. We'll get him.
We'll get him. We'll get him.
We
We'll
can
get-
move off high school if that's
We have to
that's
get 'em.
not-
Yeah, we can do it.
Otherwise, no, we have
Of
to.
course.
Otherwise, the plan
Haha.
doesn't work.
Have to. Whose boss are you?
Now,
I have to because Brennan told me to.
you put a gun at my head.
Jesus Christ.
He's like,
Now-
you better let your semi-successful YouTube friends sit in the podcast with us. It's called networking, baby,
Semi-successful.
networking. Please,
I'm
Mr.
Andrew now.
Now,
Life's like a sandwich.
Look
Andrew
at me.
Tate.
I'm the Andrew Tate now.
oh my
Andrew Tate
god.
is a title.
Yeah.
It's Titan time.
No!
Do we all want to be
Big
called
time.
personas from the War Room? One of us gets to be Andrew, one of us gets to be his brother, one of us gets to be his master of illusion and shadow, and then one of us gets to be the other guy.
The other guy.
Cool.
I think Jordan's the other guy.
I don't remember what the
I
other
don't know
guy.
what that
the other
means,
guy
and I'm
is.
very sad
Well,
about
well,
it. but
Nick
that's
is the
okay.
master of shadow and illusion.
Well, yeah, we know that. I think I'm Andrew Tate.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you guy
I think,
like you.
I think Caleb's his brother.
yeah. Yeah, great.
I'm that dude.
Guy
I'm
like
that
me.
dude
I'm just a
who, like,
little fucking
always
snake.
saying stupid shit.
What?
Oh my fucking god. All right, boys. So
Boys.
I think
Boys.
boys. So
Boys?
Brennan.
That's on the bingo now.
That is
Anytime
on
somebody
the,
says voice.
yeah, spell BOIS specifically, because you can hear the pronunciation. Anyways,
Voice.
Brennan,
Yeah.
Boys?
Brennan, what
Yeah.
do you got a topic for us this week?
I don't got much of a topic because the only other thing I've been doing all weekend is watching day fucking 1 of the Pokemon World Championships. And if you've seen any of it, day 1 is 11 hours long. And before you say, Brendan, why would you
Jesus.
watch the whole thing? Why wouldn't you just watch the matches? I have just been watching the matches. And I have only just today gotten to day 2. And by today, I mean right before the podcast. That has been my entire thing.
Any
The only other
any
fun that I had was adding shit to the bingo card.
any
Oh
picks?
no, there is something to explain. No, there should be a new addition on this podcast that everyone should notice because it's extremely obvious.
What?
We have finally finished
Whatever.
our little backdrop, our avatars.
Oh,
The
shit.
boys.
It's just a different picture, Caleb. You don't gotta add shit.
I even sent
I
you the-
do. I have to add it into the folder.
Don't add that
That's
one.
not-
Well,
you
add
got
that one for
the
future. But
the most minimum.
Well, okay.
Yeah. So
Jordan, send me the
we
right
have-
one.
well, I don't have
Yeah,
the right one.
yeah. He will when he has it because he has yet to add Venti.
But I
Because
can always,
the
always
one you
Okay,
have,
there's
he
an
has
off
basic
chance we lied to you and there isn't a thing. We'll see.
Are we gonna add Vente though because they're like a guest and not regular?
Yeah, we add on the special guest. Well,
Oh,
they're
okay.
gonna need the avatar eventually, because
That's fair.
remember the cutesy idea is we have the lineup of avatars as like the channel banner or company banner, and they're all thanks Cora for your input. And they're all lined up doing their own like poses and shit in a nice wholesome group shot.
You know, like all of the other.
Brennan,
YouTubers who do the
Brennan,
same
can
thing.
you ask Cora if she keeps that thing on her?
Let me- yeah, I gotta take my headset off for that 'cause she's a bit far away.
All right,
Hey,
go
babe.
for it.
Hey, you keep that thing on you? That thing. You keep that thing on you. That thing.
trying to explain like
Ladies and gentlemen, the joke is dead.
explain what like
Honey, it's the thing.
She did not understand.
the thing.
All right, can you ask her if she keeps that thing out her pussy?
No. All right.
No, that is
Okay.
no. That's a bit too far.
Eat that dog.
Do we need a different topic? I
Yeah,
haven't
Nick,
thought
do you have a
of
topic?
that
Yes.
topic.
Yes.
Alright,
The first
let's
one. The
talk-
first
let's-
one was funny.
Let's talk about goated villains, shall we?
Let's talk
Talk about our favorite villains.
I'm sorry, I
So, wait, so like,
goaded with the sauce.
Goated with the sauce.
yeah, like,
Yes,
Goated
villains
with sauce?
goated with the sauce.
Did somebody say?
yeah.
corporate
White boy busting it down with a little bit of sexual style.
Now we go.
Marge, are they good with the sauce?
All right.
Oh my god.
So is this just favorite villains or what's
Just
up?
like you can be favorite villains you think are cool. I can go first if you need some examples for things, but like
So
I
are we-
I think I'll go first. Gru from Despicable Me.
Okay. So Nick, let me clarify a bit better. Are we talking about like just cool villains? Or are we talking about villains who are like suave and sick? Not necessarily like awesome villains,
I
but they're
wasn't
like
thinking villains who are cool because they're like characterized as cool. I'm just like villains you like.
okay.
Oh, so then it's Gru from Despicable Me.
Yeah, he's
He's-
still mine, but also Megamind from Megamind.
Well,
movies-
no, he's not the
Okay.
villain. The villain's
Never mind.
Tiger.
Yes, he is a villain. He's just not the antagonist. Two different things.
Well, yeah, but at the end of the movie, he no longer
Yeah, but
becomes
live in the
villain,
Yeah,
woods.
and it's
but
his whole
that's at the
character.
end.
Yeah,
Also,
but live in the woods.
spoilers.
Oh, my
see,
bad.
Some people
Great
might not have
saying
seen
to pick
A
Megamind.
movie that
Megamind.
came out in 2005, 6 or
Isn't it DreamWorks?
It is.
I don't
DreamWorks.
know.
Eh,
You think I actually know who made Megamind?
It is a
You guys
really
made
good
that
movie,
joke
though.
with
I do
knowledge?
like Megamind.
Pretty sure it is true.
Okay, actually, no shit posting. I do like Nick's top 3 villains. Let's narrow it down. Top
Alright.
3 villains
Top
in
3
media.
villains.
Okay, I have to put some thought into top 3, actually.
In all of media. Now, see, am I allowed to use my own? Because
No.
we have one.
No.
No, that
there's
doesn't
only
exist
one.
yet, and
It's
also
only one.
spoiler
All
alert.
right,
Yeah, no.
that's
'Cause
fair.
also,
That's
that is
fair.
extremely like, oh, can I just use the one that I've created as the best villain?
You know, the one that I made. to be
yeah,
the
I'm
villain
Yeah,
in
fuck.
my own-
It's my
Yeah,
OC.
exactly.
Do not steal.
My OC do not steal. Yeah.
The
Oh,
only
so
villain
that's on there too. My
off
OC
of
do
the-
not steal is on the
off of the-
bingo card.
the bingo
Off
card.
of the top of my head, the only villain I actually really like is the Master from Fallout 1.
Okay, and why? Like,
Well,
'Cause he's cool.
if you know
Like,
what the
what
boss
video
is,
essay.
this is
what
gonna
makes
be
them
kind of ironic.
likable?
So this one's a little ironic, but they're very fleshed out. Don't read too much into that if you know the actual character. But anyway,
Spoiler alert.
Oh my god.
Actually, we can just say
they-
spoiler for this whole bit. There's gonna be spoilers.
Yeah,
They have
definitely.
They have understandable ambitions, and albeit it's incredibly, it's just very like jagged and rigid, and like this is the only way, like New World Order type shit. But at the same time, it's like a post-apocalypse. I mean, like, it's whatever. But they're challenging and they're intelligent and they're pretty horrific. I like it.
Hell yeah, Batman.
Yeah.
I gotta say, my top 3 is I'll explain them when I get over them. I'm gonna loop 2 in 1 here. Felix and Locust are at number 3 from Red vs. Blue seasons
they were actually really good villains, yeah.
11 through 13 because they were just the right mix of like threatening for the series, but also perfect in the series.
I
Like,
got
they
a question
had that
for...
essential.
1 sec. Got a question for you, Brennan, and for Vente. So, the one that you described, Vente, is that your number 1 out of 3?
It's the only one that comes to mind.
Okay, so we'll loop back to that
Comes
then.
to-
Brennan, where would
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
where would these two?
They're either number 2 or number 3.
Okay.
I think it's dependent. I think that's dependent on like what I'm looking for in a villain.
Yeah.
Where like I said, they were threatening, but they so perfectly matched the series, and you can totally see the twist related to both of them actually throughout their arcs in the show, coming throughout the whole season, and it's really well done for that aspect. I thought I'd be a little nicer to Rooster Teeth after we absolutely dropped Dookie on them in the last episode, because this was from an era where their content had that about it, and it was surprising to me because it was the first time someone else had taken over the reins of writing that show. So it could have so easily went wrong, but it didn't, and I think that's a hallmark of that writing, whether or not I like that person anymore. I'll let somebody else talk now
Nick.
that I say my number 2. 'Cause I gotta figure out my last couple.
Yeah.
I don't know
Unless-
if this is my actual top three, but I've got 3 that I enjoy for various reasons.
All right.
I would say I don't like, again, not necessarily top 3, so I don't necessarily have an order for them, but I would say Dark Styles / the Nogitsune, they're the same character, from Teen Wolf Season 3, Nicodemus and the Knights of the Tarnished Denar, is that what they're called? From the Dresden Files, and What is his actual name? Oh gosh, the main villain from Control Z season 1, whose name I'm blanking on, even though he's a main. He's like, what is his name? The Hackle, I guess. Whatever.
I mean, you can look it up. I don't care if there's keyboard clicking. I have that every once in a while when I look stuff up.
Okay. I have my other two.
And where would you
Alright, yeah, we
rank,
can go back to,
rank these?
Oh,
Nick?
yeah.
Now, I first want to know
Well,
why Nick thinks this and where he would
Yeah.
rank them.
So, so let me start with. I think. Do you want me to start with 3 or start with 1?
Start with 3. I think you should go through 2.
Start with 3 makes more sense. Okay, so start with 3. Is the Hackle from Control Z. Control Z or Control Z, whatever you want to call it, is a Raul. That's character name. That's a huge spoiler, by the way. So the Control Z is like imagine. So it's a Spanish show. So like I watched it on Netflix, but it's dubbed. So it's originally it's Mexican, whatever. It's in Spanish, and it's very akin to Pretty Little Liars. It's like a bunch of people in this high school, and then someone starts hacking all of them, being like, I know all your secrets, and I'll expose you to everyone else if you don't do what I say. And the reason that this character is so great to me, so funny to me, is because the actual Hackle, the main villain, his name is Raul, he's the rich kid in school. And when they, like, we see him in episode 1 being like, so the main character, her name is Sophia, she's like, no one talks to her because she like is this hyper observant kid who sees everything, and like if anyone like insults her, she'll be like, I know your deepest darkest secrets and will expose them to everyone right in front of you, and you make you like real sad. So he comes up to her and is like, I got this message from this Hackle guy, and I thought it was a joke, so I was just going along with it, but now I think I've really screwed up. And then all of a sudden everyone else gets getting all the messages and whatever. But the reason it's so funny to me is because we flash back to like see his justification near the end of the series, and he's hanging out with all his friends, and he goes and he shows his friends his dad's huge collection of things, and it becomes clear that like the implication of that scene is, oh, his dad, who's like a politician, is hella corrupt. There's no way he has all that cash and all that stuff if he wasn't corrupt. And someone takes some pictures, and so it's just out there. And then he overhears his friends basically saying that they're only friends with him for his money. So he's like, you know what? Screw these people. I hate all of them. I'm going to ruin all of their lives. And he, like, stalks Sophia a little bit because he's like, this girl, she gets it. She only tells people the truth. She doesn't talk to people she doesn't like, which is everyone. This girl's got it right. I'm in love with her. I am going to expose every one of my fake friends as the terrible people that they are and ruin all of their lives in a hope to get this girl to fall in love with me. And he succeeds.
What the fuck? What?
Sort of.
What?
That's some stay-at-home
Okay,
gamer
that-
status I'm trying to achieve.
It's
Yeah.
great. When that
Chuck
comes
joke
out, he like
status ain't no secret.
he invites everyone to this party at his house so that he can get them all there to screw with them more. He like seduces her somewhat, and then goes away, changes to his Hackle gear, kidnaps her, whatever, to like scale her. Then he like unhackles himself to save her. Blah blah blah. It's great. He like makes the whole villain scheme to get this girl to fall in love with him, and it looks like it works, except she like is onto him the whole time. But then like they fully all on and off dating for the next 3 seasons. Like it's hilarious.
That's
I,
number
uh,
All right.
So you got
Number 3.
folks, right?
All right,
You
Nick.
got a couple essays for
Ryan
1 and
needs
2
to-
there,
I
Chip? Or,
I will let
I can go-
before Nick goes through his number 2 and number 1. I want to go to Jordan, and then I want to do this in order of 3.
Okay, no,
and
that
then-
makes
So
sense.
Jordan.
Okay.
Are you ready? Because I have mine. If you're not ready,
You go for it. I have my
Okay.
number 1. So it's hard to like downtrack.
yeah. So honestly, depending on the mood, this character could be my number 1, but I don't. Like in general, I don't think they would be, but it's Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat 9.
okay.
And I want to explain why Shao Kahn is so, like, such a monumentally good villain, at least from what I remember. So I was younger when I played this, but the thing is, Shao Kahn, is like they kind of hype him up through the story that he's just this fucking absolute unit, right? He's almost like shit posts on everybody, right? Like one of the things when you actually get to fighting him, and this is one of the only times you have like a safe spot to attack him, is he'll like launch you halfway across the arena, and then he'll just like point at you and be like, "You suck," and like just start fucking laughing at you, and that's your chance to actually get some hits in, right? Because like that's the only time.
Funny.
It's hilarious, and he'll like, you know, combo the shit out of you and then just start laughing while pointing at you, right? And he's got this like deep menacing voice. It's so good. But we see him just like the thing that's great about Shao Kahn is because Shao Kahn's one of those villains that like it gets hyped up throughout the story, right? And a lot of times villains like that, they don't end up like living up to expectations. And Shao Kahn delivers, and he doesn't just deliver in like the lore of like who he just easily, like we see in cutscenes, kills, but when you actually go to fight him, he delivers, and that's like really fucking hard to do. Shao Kahn's moveset is fucking bullshit. It is so difficult to deal with. If you don't know, Mortal Kombat's a fighting game. Just gonna put that out there. You should know that. It's like one of the big ones.
Everyone should know that. It's
Everyone
one of the biggest
should know
games
that.
Of all time.
Yeah.
But so
Or
Shao
rather, one
Kahn.
of the biggest names in gaming of
So
all time.
oh my god. So they give you Raiden to fight Shao Kahn at the end. If you're playing through the story, right? Now Raiden, there's a couple things I want to point out. Raiden is a pretty strong character, but he has a lot of lengthy combos, and this will fucking kill you because you can't do these lengthy combos on Shao Kahn because Shao Kahn doesn't function as any other fighter. Because, you know, he's not a playable character, so they didn't have to make him function as any other fighter. He hits like a truck. Like, he doesn't have to combo you. You don't have to expose yourself in a way where, like, he can get at the start of a really long combo or something like that. No. If you expose yourself at all, he's just going to hit you and deal an insane amount of damage. While you attack him, he will just get hyper armor randomly and start attacking you. And if you're not prepared for this means you can be, you know, you're playing as Raiden, so you've got these long combos. You like start a long combo on him, and then he just knocks out a third of your health. Right? So he can I don't think he can teleport. Raiden can teleport, but he can charge at you from like the other side of the arena, lightning fast. He has shit he can throw at you. Close range is terrifying because he pulls out this hammer. He has command grabs, so like I think he has command grabs at least. Essentially, he has unblockables. So you have to pay attention. The whole thing with Shao Kahn is he is a and this wasn't even on the hardest difficulty either. This was on like the regular difficulty, and he took me like the better part of a day to beat, like constantly. Like nothing else in the game had taken me that long. Maybe I had to fight them, you know, like 3 or 4 matches. Shao Kahn took like all of an afternoon. He's actually like, and it didn't feel unfair. It felt like every time I died, I got greedy. Because Shao Kahn, you have to play safe. You have to play smart. Because you can juggle him and you can do some crazy stuff on him if you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, he's so threatening. And then he shows up later on in the series. He eventually is a playable character in 12, I think it is. And he's just such a shitpost. Like, Shao Kahn, like, radiates and oozes this, like, charisma around him. He's, like, walking around. He's got, like, his, no shirt on or anything. It's just, like, fucking a muscly, abbed body. He's also just, like, he's huge. He's a huge human being, right?
He's not human. That's an important thought.
Okay, he's not human, but he's huge, right? And he's fucking ripped and all this. And he just oozes charisma. But he's not like a character that oozes charisma but can't back it up. He oozes charisma because he knows he can just destroy you in a fight. He can just destroy you. And, it was just the whole lead up to him and how we saw him interact in cutscenes was great. And then to actually have, like, the final fight, like, justifiably, it didn't feel like, a slog or something that, I have to be so skillful. It felt like the correct challenge, but it was still extremely difficult, and I think they just nailed him. At least in Mortal Kombat 9. I do like his personality in, like, 12, where he shows up, but I haven't played through all of the story in that. But at least in 9, he was just this absolute, like, imposing presence whenever he showed up. So that would be why he's my number 3. The reason why I want to rank him higher, but I wouldn't, and I said that maybe he would be my number 1 sometimes, is because I love those things. He's this shit talking, charismatic, and can back it up. But beyond that, he doesn't like, his character is very deep and rich in those areas, but he is a very one-dimensional character, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Right, because one-dimensional characters can be very good if they're done right.
Combat, like, what are you expecting from the punchy game?
Yeah, but like, Shao Kahn is an extremely well done one-dimensional character. I think making him like a three-dimensional character wouldn't suit his character, but there is that lack of more depth to him because of that, and I would like to, but I can't really rate him any higher.
Yeah. The not to like spoil anything about the story in 12, but like when his appearances are not like they don't add anything more to his character. The only thing is that in the DLC for 12, it makes it clear that he's kind of a wife guy, which is kind of funny.
That is kind of funny.
But otherwise,
That
nothing
is
added
really
to the
funny.
character.
All right, Jordan, let's hear your number 3.
No.
All right.
Oh, didn't he? Oh no, we skipped.
I have
Right.
3, 2, and 1 now, so I'm good for the rotation. So up at number 3, like at the very, very bottom, is Usurper King Zant from Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess.
Okay.
I definitely like the based like on the aspect of like he sort of looks like he controls the world, like up until that point, right? Like all the villains have been Ganon, and spoilers, Ganon is the villain at the end of that, but it doesn't seem like it at first. Like there is no like foreshadowing. There's maybe like a prequel scene of like oh, we killed Ganon and then that's the end. So like you kind of
we sent him to the Shadow Realm.
yeah, like you kind of have that in the back of your head, like oh well they showed Ganon like on some Chekhov's gun kind of shit, right? Like oh he's here. Back your mind.
It is Chekhov's gun.
But like the main driving force of the entire game is like this King Zant, like mysterious king of the Twilight, and as like you sort of get to know his character, and Link and Midna like start running into him, bumping into him, fighting him, whatever, like you learn of kind of like the sad like struggle for power that he has, and to the point where instead of getting what he wanted and accepting that he lost, like he wanted to become the king of the Twilight, but he wanted it for greed kind of shit, which dog, you ain't getting that for greed. I get that 100%, but like like if you're gonna be like that, like you don't deserve it, right? But at the same time it's like, well, he did kill everyone and try to take over the world as a result. So like yeah, the main reasons like I mess with him is because he's sort of has like a relatable goal, like maybe not so much as like regicide, but like
a good
still
baseline.
like an
I mean,
attainable.
who doesn't relate to Regicide, right?
I dude, I did a lot of regicide in the 90s. Like it's more like whether or not that be like a position in like your job or like whatever, like you do anything to attain this by any means necessary, whatever.
Yeah, climb the ladder, so to speak.
Climb the ladder and may not be in the correct channels, whatever. It's a very relatable kind of goal, especially before I even came here, like to the show and the project and everything. Like I was very like just trying to get up ahead as like doing whatever.
Money. Sorry.
Chase a bag, bro. Like that's all I'm saying. A roundabout chase a bag.
Haircuts at the same time.
But the whole reason why I put him at the bottom of the list is because yes, he is not actually the villain, like the final villain. He is just
Not
a
the main
villain.
antagonist. He's just
But the whole game sets him up to be the main villain.
Yeah.
He's like a puppeteer, and even his design has like
The little
very
puppet,
puppeteer strain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason he's still on the list is the fact that it's ironic, don't you think? Right? He's pulling the strings. It's just bringing it around. He's pulling the strings of the evil shit, but he's also being controlled by Ganon, and like he's kind of like his underling. Like he still is not a king because
Yeah.
Subservient.
he is subservient in regards to
Yeah.
what he believes is a god. But
Yeah.
I thought maybe if that game just had Zant but no Ganon, like I think
Yeah.
that would
Instead of that
Ah,
twisted, he just like
that would
evolved
be
into
pretty.
something more powerful.
I never thought of Twilight
and
Princess
it was
that
more
way.
of his struggle with Midna and the actual Twilight
That
realm,
could have been
and
really interesting.
with Link just as the stand-in. Like he would have been a way cooler villain,
Yeah.
but Ganon had to step in with his doofy ass
Like
head.
I get why they used Ganon, but you
Well,
bringing
yeah,
up the
'cause-
whole idea of a Twilight Princess with only Zant as the main villain, and like there's no like higher deity like to say pollute his
maybe
mind,
not,
for lack
but,
of
like,
a better term.
That was like maybe
would
one
be
of the
cool.
first games to come out after Nintendo admitted that they're all linked, or like came out with
Yeah.
that.
They all are in the
Because
same.
it was it
Yeah.
was Wind Waker, right? That they said that it was all linked after. They're like, oh, it's all the same story. So I bet
think
they
so.
were like writing the story for Twilight Princess, and they're like, oh, it's gonna be like this new villain, like in Four Swords. Like, there's no Ganon in Four Swords. There's no Ganon in
Yeah.
Oracles, right?
Yeah.
I bet they were gonna work with a 3D Zelda that was like, oh, new villain, and then they're like, oh, it's all linked, and they're like, oh, we'll add Ganon at the end.
To be
Yeah, they
fair,
kinda had to
as
shoehorn it back.
much as they maybe didn't say the games were all literally connected until then, they did imply that the Link is reincarnated every time. Like Link is always a reincarnation of the same hero, and Ganon
Oh,
and
yeah.
Zelda are the reincarnations of the same characters. Like that was well established before that.
Of course. But
Brett-
yeah, who are going next on the list order, guys?
Brennan,
that
have you
would be
done
Venti.
yours?
Yeah, it's Venti for number 2 now.
What was your number?
Alright.
What was your number 3 before we go on? I just can't
My
remember.
number 3 was Felix and Locus.
Right.
from,
Okay. Sorry.
All right,
Brothers of
so
He wasn't
got-
listening.
all
Yeah.
of my villains
Usual.
mapped out, and I'm putting the Master at number 3, even though I really like him. But that's because I just remembered 2 villains that I like immensely more. And for number 2, we have Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2, and
that's a good one.
technically the pre-sequel, but mostly Borderlands 2. And the reason I really like Handsome Jack is because he's got charm, which is a very good start, and he has the power and intimidation to back up that charm. So he's not playing the fool. It's more so it's
Like Shao Kahn. Like he can get
yeah,
shit
it's a
done.
lot like it's a lot like Shao Kahn, yeah, because he's and just throughout the entire game he's just taunting you, and you uncover a bit more about his backstory. A lot of it's more in the later end of the game, and I'd say he's relatively relatable, and a lot of his mindset
Yeah, there's
is
there's a lot of deep
understandable.
lore at
Yeah.
the
Yeah, you have to
in
read
the-
between
in
the
the end game
lines
of
for a lot
Borderlands
of
2.
this.
and a lot of them are in side quests too. So you might never, unless you're going for that full completion of those side quests, you might never
Yeah.
get what exactly it is, and you definitely wouldn't see it in unless you played the pre-sequel too, because
Yeah.
I know you mentioned that Handsome Jack is in there, but he's less of an antagonist role in that, and I like how
Yeah,
they painted him like that.
Yeah, that one's more a not solidifying, but more so showing you how the Handsome Jack came to be.
Yeah. Because
And-
Jack is who he is. Handsome
Yeah.
Jack is the persona that he takes on.
And in Borderlands 2, there's the only time he ever drops that shit-eating grin arrogance is
spoilers, by the way, I think that goes without saying at this point, is when you murk his daughter, which is essentially a mercy killing, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have any sense of morality, it's a mercy killing. Anyway, and that's the only time in the pretty much in the entire series that he ever drops the arrogant, larger than
cocky
life
bravado.
personality. Not even larger than life, more so just pompous. I don't know, he feels a lot like a. This is gonna be a really weird analogy, but he feels a lot like a high school jock that invested into Bitcoin. If that makes any fucking sense.
No, I gotta side with you on that one. I gotta side with you on that one.
I don't know enough about Handsome Jack to know if that's good or not, but I
Nah.
do like it. I like it as an option.
It's pretty much true.
But
From
it's a really weird analogy, but it works.
it
'cause
it gets the job done. To be sure.
Because another big thing, it's not even necessarily big because the game doesn't focus on it too much, but he also owns multi-millionaire. It's not even it's more than that because it's space magic, but he has a space station. He's a lot like Elon Musk, except actually funny.
Damn.
Get
You're
fucked.
gonna take that line.
Venti with the hot take.
Not a hot
Elon
take.
Musk.
Elon Musk isn't
I don't
actually
think that's a
funny.
hot take. That's just a fact.
I mean, it can be both.
I
It's
guess,
a hot take to his fans.
Yeah.
He has fans.
No, he
He
has
has
an
fanatics. He has.
Well, yeah, it's
cultists.
hot in Australia. I don't
He-
think he lives in Australia. does
No,
he?
he does not.
He could make this
No.
list of villains. Anyway.
He really could.
Why did I think Australia? He's African. Anyway.
So-
whatever.
My number 2 is Wrath from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I'm gonna issue another spoiler warning because this one's like at the very end of this. Like it's the end of the entire series. This shit doesn't get revealed till way late. But Wrath, also known as King Bradley, the ruler of the nation that the series takes place in, he's an amazing villain for the things you've mentioned for Shao Tucker and Handsome Jack. Without
Shao Tucker.
Shao Tucker, that's what Shao Kahn. Shao Tucker is another villain from
Shao Kahn.
Full Metal.
Shao Tucker.
The full
Oh my
Shao
God.
Tucker, yeah. There's another villain from Full Metal Alchemist. Actually, I thought Shao Tucker first, and then I was like, no, there's a better one from Full Metal Alchemist. However, King Bradley has that charisma and that power, but he's so much more three-dimensional than they are, and the writers make it work so well with him. At one point, his wife gets threatened, and he's like, "You're dumb. You think my wife doesn't know the risks of being married to the king of the nation? Like,
Mm-hmm.
good luck threatening me with that." But the real spoilers here is he is one of the group of homunculi, the evil group that's essentially controlled the nation since its inception. And I can't say essentially, they have controlled it since its inception, but
Illuminati.
King Bradley was born a human and made a homunculus rather than born a homunculus,
Oh.
which is an interesting part to his character because he's actually lost that touch of humanity. He even says he doesn't know if the soul that he is was the original, or if it was one of the ones that won the contest for his mind when they put the homunculus stuff in him. And it brings out a nice third dimension to the character that even with those, he doesn't struggle to do what he is as a villain. He's still powerful, and even at the end, he says that despite his hatred for humans, it's been a while since I've watched this show. If anyone could tell, they took it off Netflix, bastards. they made it a life worth living, regardless of how much he hated them. And I think that's a nice sentiment from the from somebody whose trait is wrath.
Yeah.
Like of course he's angry the whole time, and his power is that he can. It's called an ultimate eye, but I don't fucking know what it actually does. He essentially, his vision is practically omniscient if it's physical. Like, he gets in a train wreck and the entire train track is falling over a chasm, and he actually manages to chart a path and jump along the wreckage to get himself to safety because of his eye.
Damn.
Which is it's a super interesting power for Wrath. You'd think, oh, overwhelming strength, or like something else that allows him to have that overwhelming physical prowess, not like an all-seeing sight that allows him to avoid or strike with extreme precision. He's really well designed to subvert a lot of what you've already thought of all these characters, especially the villains. He's really good, and he's way better than the main villain, Father, because this is going to be a hot take for anyone who likes the character, but like that character is one-dimensional, and it's really nice to have at least you only see that character for the last couple episodes. Like, you only see a lot of him for the fight, and they do show his backstory. They show like what he came from, what he is, and so on and so forth, but he still lands one-dimensionally for me, because all he's after is more power. Like, that's it. He doesn't have he didn't actually lead he pulled the strings, but he didn't actually lead the country. That was Wrath. He didn't actually do any of the work to corrupt the nation. His whole goal was just sacrifice a country's worth of people to gain power. So, like, it's one of the times that in anything, a secondary villain, or rather a subordinate antagonist or villain, does a better job for me than the main, because of how much more we see of the secondary antagonist. It's the virtue of, you see that thing so much, you understand it better than the opposite with Father, where it's like, oh, we know him for 5 episodes, and sure, we get backstory, but like,
but if they're gonna show up at that little, you need such a powerful presence when they're there. You need like Sauron level presence.
Exactly. And he's got an extreme presence about him, but the way it's all written is like, I mean, yeah, sure, but he's not gonna win. Like,
and it's Sauron, a lot more boring.
Sauron is all presence, which allows
Sauron
him
could
to
win, right? Like, Sauron's terrifying.
Exactly. And that's the thing about Sauron. If they only talked about the character and didn't show him, then it would have been the same. It's like, oh, we have to beat this esoteric thing who is trying to become God. Like Sauron, if they never showed him. If they had never shown Father, he would have struck a lot better. But of course, they're stuck in the way there of, they can't really end the series if they don't kill him. So they do have to show and fight him.
Yeah.
Whereas with Sauron, they could, because he is that esoteric thing.
Yeah.
Rather than a
and they're
entity.
able to show him they're able to show his power without having to reveal personality behind it, which makes him scary, because it's the unknown.
Yeah. So that's my number 2.
It's Nick next, right?
Okay.
Yes.
My number 2 is Nicodemus and the Knights of the Blackened Eye from the Dresden Files. So the Dresden Files, I'll just quick. It's basically like noir style mysteries, but it's set in modern day Chicago, and the main character is a wizard.
Based.
You're really into this shit. like
Yes.
Riverdale and this and
I'm uncomfortable with you comparing this with Riverdale, but okay. Anyway,
Do not
I
get
mean,
him
better.
started.
His number
Yeah.
one is the villain from Riverdale.
no, the Riverdale villains actually suck.
Riverdale is the villain.
Riverdale is the true
Riverdale
villain.
is the villain.
Anyway, so there are plenty of villains. There's vampire courts, there's werewolves, there's demons, there's a lot the Fey courts, both of them. But there's this character that we meet in like book 2 or 3 named Michael, who's like this paladin who like is just this guy who our main character will go to for help sometimes. He's just like a stand-up Catholic man with a holy sword that and our main character Dresden is not a very religious person, so he's like not into the religious aspects of this guy, but obviously the guy does good work, so he's like not going to complain when he helps him out. But then eventually he learns what this paladin's actual like goals are. Like he's part of an order who hunts down these people, this cult called the Knights of the Blackened Deny, which are the 30 gold silver pieces that Judas was given for betraying Jesus. They were all used as prisons for fallen angels.
Oh, that's sick.
So there's
That's
30
actually really cool.
fallen
That is
angels
super
contained
cool.
in these silver coins. And how these
That is
fallen
really
angels
cool.
work is because of they're evil angels, but angels and demons work differently from each other. Angels can't interact with like the world without some form of consent, or demons can. So these
Right.
angels have to wait for someone to pick them up and then convince them to let them do things. But what we learn is that how they work is once you touch a coin, a sliver of the angel's consciousness slips into your head and never leaves you alone. And is just there in your head trying to convince you to call upon the power of the coin. And then we've seen multiple versions of what this looks like. Sometimes the angel takes control and just turns into a monster. Sometimes the person is more in control and just like is super powered. And then there's the leader, Nicodemus, who is in perfect parity with his angel, which manifests as his shadow is sentient. And he has this noose that he wears on his neck that makes it so he can't die. And his whole shtick is just he is evil. It's not like the most in-depth characterization, but like you can tell that his goal is like, oh yeah, so we're gonna steal this holy relic so we can corrupt it and use it to kill everyone. Or we found this disease, we're gonna release it at an airport so we can kill as many people. Like he's just a terrorist he's an immortal terrorist with an army, a cult of just as devoted, nearly immortal psychopaths, just trying to kill everyone.
Mood. TV.
And
It's not
another
a Tuesday if I haven't done that.
and another fun like
That is a big
quirk
relief.
of they're evil, but they're also pretty smart to the degree that it's like they know that the only people really trying to stop them are this order of 3 holy knights. Like there's only 3 of them. And the order's actual goal is not to kill them, it's to stop them and ideally like bring them back to the good. So what will happen is when any of these knights, the bad guy, the Black and Deny knights get caught, they just say they drop the coin and say, "I announce the coin," and then the knights have to be like, "Okay, we have to take your word. We have to assume you're going to try to become a better person," and they can't kill them. So what happens all the time is they will just be like, "I announce the coin," and then just like later try and break away and take the power up again because the holy knights have to be like, listen, we know they're lying to us, but like we have to take the chance. If we can find a way to make them good again, we gotta make it.
Okay, so it's less of like a holy ordained and more of like a holy ordained task and more of a like. But if we get the chance,
Yeah,
we
like
have to take it.
their
Gotcha.
goal is like to stop these coins from causing havoc, and like none of them are idiots, and only like one of them at a time is actually very religious. It's kind of like we see several. There's only 3 positions, but we see several characters fill those roles. The main one is very religious, but then his 2 partners, one of them is like straight up not religious. He's just like dude, I fight monsters. I've got this cool magic sword. It tells me where I need to go. Like, I just find myself in situations sometimes. So, like, you know what? If that's God telling me where to go, it's God telling me where to go. But, like, maybe I'm just in the right place at the right time. Whatever. And then there's this other guy who is just, like, he's this nerd. Like, he's, like, this doctor character that's worked with our main character for, like, most of the series. And then at some point, one of the powerful swords breaks, and he picks it up and it turns into a lightsaber, and he just starts beating monsters with it. And it's like, yeah, well, the sword shows you. In fact, it reforged itself so that you could have a lightsaber. So, like, I know that you're a nerd who doesn't do combat all that often, but clearly, your sense of fighting for justice won out. So, enjoy the laser sword.
Damn.
That's some anime shit. I know it's not an anime, but
It's
That's
very much
pretty
not
good.
an anime, but yes, that is very much an anime moment.
It has an anime plot, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of
that's just one like. You
one,
said
like there are
one
so
arc?
many villains.
one big arc.
I will like to go over some of the other villains that don't just like quickly. There's 3 different vampire courts, 3-ish Fey courts. There's a whole there's like demons, but then there's also like the otherworldly demons. There's the gods, there's the formers, there's so many different villains, and who is relevant at any given time is entire like there's a lot.
Yeah, no kidding.
I like
Sounds
these
like
guys
a lot.
because they've got a really cool concept. Just like these sentient these angels, these evil angels hiding in these coins that just manipulate you to use the power on you. And like I will say one more quick thing, because our main character actually gets a coin at one point. Like he picks it up to stop a kid from getting it, and so he has this angel in his head for like several books, and she does good things and being like, hey, you know, I'm in your head. I can look at your memories for you, so I can just like recall something perfectly for you. But at the same time, she's like, I can talk to your consciousness and like while I can talk to like your inner self and make you more aggressive and hateful without you realizing it.
Now that's a fucking power set. Because I mean, like, yeah, it would happen. Because if they're in there fucking with your subconscious, while you're asleep, then you just become that, right?
He literally has a conversation with himself at some point where the other one, like his inner self, he has been in several conversations at this point with himself for various reasons, but this one is like just like really aggressively like, we need to take up the coin. He's like, what? You're so angry. What happened? He's like, we had a chat without you while you were gone. He's like, wait, what do you mean you had a chat without me while I was gone? What?
You were asleep, and I talked to the voices.
I always talk to the voices.
The voices are back.
I have to keep watering or the voices get loud.
No, my favorite is win game, feels nothing. Lose game, the voices are back
The
again.
voices are back.
Okay, who's next?
It would be me and then Jordan.
That's
So,
Yep.
what? What, Jordan?
What? I didn't say nothing.
Okay,
You
so
what?
my number 2.
Yeah, are you hearing voices?
Do you have any strange coins?
When everything reminds you of her. Sorry.
Strange coins.
Anyways, so my number 2, speaking of when everything reminds you of her, is going to be Dracula from Castlevania, the anime that Netflix had just a little bit ago. And you see, there's the spoiler alert, obviously. There's another really hilarious and great villain in there, and it's Death itself.
Thought that's
And-
the one you were gonna go with, honestly.
But the reason why I'm not going with Death is because Death, for me, fills the same role that Shao Kahn fills.
Yeah.
Where they're this shit-posting, imposing presence. Death does it a little bit better, which is why I place Death
was
above
about-
Shao
yeah.
Kahn. But it's essentially the same thing. It really is essentially the same thing, whereas Dracula has a lot more personality and a lot more to him. So there's a lot of reasons why I really like Dracula. First of all, like Dracula's goals, although we might be like, oh, that's bad, they're very understandable from his character standpoint. So what happens in this is he's hid himself away into his own, his castle. He doesn't go about talking to people, and this woman comes and talks to him, who wants to learn about medicine and stuff to help people, and he's kind of like, the fuck, you're not coming here to try and kill me? Okay, what's going on? And they end up falling in love and having a son, which is Alucard. And we're not getting into Alucard or anything, but the point here is, he gives up a lot for her. Like there's actual love in between these two characters. He, walks around as like she gets killed, okay, because she gets accused of witchcraft and heresy, and he could have made it there.
Science.
Yeah, when it's just
Catholic
science.
Church on that one.
And he could have made it there, but he was, for her sake, walking as a man, right? Like traveling as men do, instead of being able to just like fucking teleport around because he's Dracula, right? And when he finds out about this, like he basically, where her, the pyre that they the stake that they tied her to and lit her, like this huge flaming head comes out that's him, and he's like, "What the fuck have you done to my wife?" Right? And they're all like, "Oh, it's Satan! It's Satan has shown up!" And he's like, "I'm not fucking Satan, I'm Dracula." And someone there like knows it, and they're like, "Oh shit, it's Dracula." But like, even beyond, like, there's still somewhat of a good person in him, because he doesn't just like torch the place or anything. He's like, you have 1 year. You have 1 year to, make your peace with your God, etc. Because in 1 year I will kill everyone in this city. And well, in that area of the world. But as you find out later, yeah, it's the entire world he wanted to kill. Because, and the thing is, it's like it's very human of him, right? Because as we find out, he's giving them 1 year because he's raising an army from hell, and it's going to take him a year to pull up the whole army. But also, the way he acts is like that. Well, I gave people a chance, and they're shitty. They're shitty. They don't deserve to be around anymore, right? And we've all come across shitty people. And so, like, the thing is, like, his motives are very understandable and realistic, and, like, even, like, the thing is, even if you're like, wow, what he's doing is totally wrong, you, like, really feel for Dracula in this this show. Like, you feel for him, because it is so clear that he was, like, really in love with this woman, and that he is so depressed afterwards. And and it's not like a little bit of depression. He's lost everything. Like, he wants to kill every human, so that then the vampires would die too, because there'd be no more blood for them to feed on. Like, he's doing a giant. He's suiciding the world at this point.
It is explicitly stated he is attempting to commit suicide through this mass.
Yeah,
slaughter.
but like kill everyone in the process, right? Like, it's
like no one can have anything.
It's like a very realistic depiction of like actual like incredible rage, but the difference is, a normal person can't fucking pull off the shit that he does. Where it's something where if you had this level of power, I think a lot of people would react the same way he did, right? Like, a lot of people.
Yeah. Almost everybody would.
Yeah, especially like it's just he is such a good villain, because there is still a person inside of him, and there's still and it's not like he gets on the screen and we root for him, because like Shao Kahn I'm rooting for when he's on the screen. Shao Kahn's like such a shitpost that, like, unless he's going up against a character I really like, I'm rooting for Shao Kahn. But with Dracula, it's not even like that you can root for him in this context. You're just like, oh my god, I wish this didn't happen to him. Like, holy shit. Like, it is rough, and this is part of the reason why I think, like, he's a very three-dimensional character. He's got all these aspects, and when we do eventually get to see him fight in season 2, oh my god, does he live up to the fact that he's Dracula? He
absolutely bodies the main trio, including his own son.
He bodies the main trio and his own son, who's basically like godly in his power. Like, the best way to describe their fight is it honestly feels like two gods fighting. It like honestly feels like two gods fighting. It's insane. But even then, while they're fight, at first he's like kind of upset at the like he's kind of like, oh, my own son would come to stop me, whatever. But during the fight, they get knocked into his the room,
bedroom.
his childhood bedroom, and like it's at that moment that like Dracula just almost can't even fight because he's like he's distraught with himself. Like he's distraught, right? This isn't someone thinking clearly. This is someone who has like very much lost their mind, but like not in the I'm crazy, but like they've lost
themselves.
They've lost touch with reality. Really, is what's gone on, right? They've lost themselves is a good way, but more so, it's they've lost touch with reality, and there are times that you can see him get that touch back, and there's like this person. It's like honestly, the Castlevania Netflix show is incredible. It's one of the best shows I've ever watched in general. But part of that is because Dracula is, like, all the characters in that are really well written, but Dracula is such a good villain. Sure, Death comes in at the end, and Death is, like, the hypest fucking villain. Death is so cool. But Dracula is more solid. I think if
Dracula is absolutely a better villain than Death. Death is just funny.
Yeah, no, Dracula is a better villain. I think, like, Death wouldn't have worked so well if it was Death the whole time.
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh, yeah, because those villains roll.
Yeah, it had to set up, and Dracula is just like, he's done something that like, not really any other villain has, except for maybe, it's like the whole sort of thing with Macbeth, where like, you feel for the tragedy of
like
Macbeth.
What made him rather than him.
Right, you're looking at it and you're like, oh, like this is just a series of shit gone wrong, and sure, he isn't fighting it as well as he should be, but like it's totally understandable. And I don't know, I think Dracula is just like such a well written and fleshed out villain. My number one is not. My number one is somewhat well written, but they're basically what Shao Kahn does, personified to such a much larger degree. But that's simply because I really appreciate that. I think that's funny. If I was going objectively with the trio that I'm gonna say, Dracula would be the best villain because he's just so well fucking written, and he doesn't feel like a character on a show. He feels like a real person, and like with real goals and realistic, and like very much a character that makes sense. He falters at times. He's not infallible. He's not perfect. Like all these different things.
As much as every character in the show wants you to think that he's perfect, because boy, is that a theme of the show.
Yeah, it is. But he's not, and he's clearly. Like, he doesn't want anyone to think that. But, like, when people, try to challenge him on stuff, like the other vampires, because they're like, oh, this fucking old man doesn't know what he's doing. And the way he, like, turns and starts, he doesn't even attack them, but just, like, the aura. It's like, when I talk about Shao Kahn's aura, fucking Dracula has it so much better. Like, Dracula's presence is imposing, because Shao Kahn is meant to be this like really strong obstacle, but like everyone else is super pretty strong, so they can like fight him. It's an uphill battle. Dracula is meant to be, and he comes across this way as nobody can take him. He's too much. He is too much for any person to take. You will just lose. And he comes across as that. It's not just this sad villain. It's this extremely powerful villain that needs to be stopped, that's also very human, so you can kind of understand what's going on.
Yeah, going back to the fight against the final fight with Dracula, it is important to note, like, the trio that we see fighting, like, right before they fight Dracula, they fight the whole of the vampire army, almost effortlessly mowing through vampire after vampire. It's a slaughter, 3 of them versus hundreds, and they're winning.
And some of these are like named characters.
Yeah, like this main trio are non-negligible characters. They're built as absolute powerhouses.
No, but I mean the things they're fighting.
Oh yeah, and the things they're fighting have been set up as powerhouses too. But even then, they just fucking
rip them apart.
They rip them to shreds. Exactly.
Yeah, but like when they finally get to actually fight Dracula, they don't stand a chance. They
It's
don't
like
deal any damage at all to Dracula.
like-
It's just like
like
minute.
it-
Just like
like
it's
this-
nothing.
the situation gets reversed, and
Yeah.
I actually love one of his lines, but I'll continue after that point of like it all gets reversed on them. Like this whole time we've been seeing that all three of these characters, like the whole 2 seasons, they just shredded everything
Yeah.
that they come into contact with that's against them.
Yeah.
They might have a couple of bumps and bruises from one of them, but like that's negligible. It's the same thing that they do to Dracula.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite lines is when Trevor Belmont, like he enters the fray, and Dracula goes from like all this serious, I'm kicking the shit out of my son, and this random mage girl that's here now, to he actually he smiles it up a little bit. He goes, "And you must be the Belmont."
Only Belmont would be stupid enough to punch Dracula in the face.
Yeah. After he punches him in the face, he's like, "And you must be the Belmont." But he it brings that fun to his character. Like he starts having fun in that fight against Belmont
Oh yeah.
because of that family's been seeking after him for like the entire family line essentially.
Yeah. And the other thing to note is like part of the reason they can actually go toe to toe with Dracula is because they have some busted like equipment at this point.
Oh, they
like
have
Yeah,
some
that is
really busted. Pardon,
They
Nick?
literally went on an item run to just get a
Yeah,
bunch
yeah.
of items.
And like the thing is, that's kind of the reason why they could effortlessly go through these other people where they're even if their skill level's a little bit higher, it's they've got like so much better gear. They've got gear that literally if they the vampires, if they hit them once, yeah, they cut them, but if Trevor's whip touches one of the
Hits the
vampires, they
vampire,
explode. They're
they
dead.
explode.
They're
Exactly.
dead.
They're just dead on contact.
When this whip hits Dracula, it just pushes him back and there's the explosion and he's fine. Right? Like they need this equipment to even go toe to toe with Dracula, and he still kicks their ass.
Yeah,
It's
like,
such a well done fight.
and it's something you can only see in that format too, because
Yeah.
if it was a video game boss from like any video game, you'd be like, this is impossible.
Like Castlevania.
Well, yeah, like Castlevania, but if it was Dracula from that series instead of
It's morbid time.
Dracula from the Konami games, it would fucking.
Fucking heard
Yeah.
that, Vinny.
What'd she say?
It's Morbin time.
Oh my god!
It is truly Morbin time.
But, like, get off
That's everyone
my
else's.
podcast.
That's everyone's secret top villain, Morbius.
Morbius,
But
of course.
like one of my favorite parts about this fight is like Alucard is like going super speed. He's like not teleporting, but he's going
Okay,
like
good note.
past the sound barrier, like back and forth through the room, just punching Dracula in the face. And the thing is, this is where you get to see the power difference. Whereas like, and Dracula's just kind of taking these, and they're like hurting, but he's taking these, and he takes like 2 or 3 of them, and then just kind of like clicks in as to where his son will attack from next, and just like, grabs him by the head and smashes him into the ground.
Yeah, they're completely outclassed by Dracula, even with all their busted shit. And
Yeah.
I mean, it lives up to the legend of Dracula,
Yeah.
the original vampire.
Yeah, it's sick. Like, and the thing that they do right about him, and this is why, like, I say his presence is better than Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn, when Shao Kahn shows up, he does shit. Dracula kind of doesn't do shit because he's like depressed and doesn't have the energy. But when Dracula does have to do shit, oh my fucking god, you're fucked. Like he's going to win. There's nothing you can
No
do
shit
about
ever
it.
get done if Dracula needs to do shit.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that even brings more character to the fact that he's, getting all these other vampires to hunt and stuff. Like, he could do this on his own, but he's just so done with everything that he doesn't want to. He's disconnected, right, from reality. Anyways, Jordan, what's your number 2?
My number 2, I'm going to keep it in a tweet because we've been doing this for a while.
And we're gonna
So-
keep doing it forever. So don't. It's gonna be a long one.
Yeah, we gotta get number 1 out of the way. This bit is gonna be a little bit.
Yeah, this will probably be the last bit.
All right, so is this the last one? Like, are we?
No, we're going to number 1.
No. So yeah,
We
so
are-
like, he meant this is the last bit. Like,
This is the last topic.
After we're done all of us saying on number 1s, that'll be the end of the podcast.
All right, but in the future, Like when we do the number ones, let's keep it in a tweet. We don't want to be here all night.
Yeah.
We gotta
I'm
work
sorry,
in the
my
morning.
number one I have to explain shit for.
Yeah,
Don't
no,
worry.
this is gonna be a long
Mine-
episode. Next time we'll keep it shorter. This time we'll not.
Mine will be quick. I mean, I have a joke planned, but my real one will be quick.
Okay, my number 2, it's gotta be the classic Megatron. All right,
Oh, Megatron's
Like,
actually
okay.
such a good
Good
villain.
one. That's a good one.
he's an amazing villain, and it stems from just like when he was first created, it was like, oh, he's evil. He's evil so that we can have good guys, and the good
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
are
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
guys. And then later you kind of find out like he's actually just a soldier who just wants to defend his home. He wants to rebuild his home that's been torn apart by this war because of the man. I mean, like seriously, the mood, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what's happening right now. It's whatever. I'm a Decepticon. I am Megatron. So Megatron, he basically like he's just fighting, right? He's fighting for what he believes is correct. It just so happens to be like he's on.
Counter to the
Well, no, he
Yeah.
just so happens to be siphoning energy required to rebuild his planet from another planet that already has life on it.
Yeah.
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 And literally all of like the conflict could have been stopped by, oh, oh my bad, little guy, you're here. We'll go find somewhere else. To be honest, like he was just
Go
too
have a
lazy
good
to do
one.
that, right? Like
yeah, he was too lazy to go find
here.
another one.
fuck it, we're getting McDonald's. Like I know you wanted Wendy's, but there's a McDonald's right here. Fuck it,
He was either
we're
too
getting
lazy or too
Arby's.
stubborn.
Like I don't care.
And everyone was like, "No, dude,
Not
fuck."
fucking
What?
And
I
you're like,
like Arby's. No one likes Arby's.
Last time I
Right,
had an
so-
Arby's, I got sick. That's not a joke, by the way.
Last time I
I
went
don't-
to Arby's,
that's why I don't eat
remember
at
her-
Arby's anymore.
Yeah,
Oh,
same,
man.
Brennan.
And I like that about and I'm talking about the old like 80s cartoon. I'm not talking about some fucking Bayhem
I
Michael
assumed
Bay
as much as you got
garbage.
talking about it.
Because if I
Yeah.
wanted to go into that, like Megatron is a wanton destruction ass homie in the Michael Bay films, and I
He's
don't like
pretty
him in
cool.
the Michael Bay.
He's cool, but
He's
we
Not a
can't
good
exactly
villain,
call
but-
him well written.
Yeah.
No,
If
he's
I
not
wanted to-
well written. He's just cool.
If I was talking about like villains from the Bay universe Transformers, I would have to go with like Sentinel Prime. As you know,
Oh,
the
Sentinel
video
Prime's a
of
good
like,
one.
Optimus
I
help me,
love
and he's like,
Sentinel
fuck you, and he's like, boom.
Sentinel
Right?
Prime gets
That's a
killed
good
by
villain. That's how you
dodgeball.
write a because he is exactly what Megatron as the character is, right?
Yeah.
Like just somebody desperate for a home, and
Yeah.
they'll do anything. Doesn't matter. And he's also a gun.
He's also
And
We're
I
talking
think
about Ruby now, or
no, he transforms into a gun.
Okay,
Yes.
Salem not in my top list, but Salem does have the best intro of any villain.
she really does have a good intro. But yeah, definitely not my. Not
I
in
don't
my
know. I think Dio has a better intro if I'm being, totally
All right,
honest.
well,
Yeah,
all right, well,
it's
well,
good.
put a pin in that.
Intro
Put a
is, I
pin
just
in that
told
one.
my father what I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
send
Brennan's
you.
number one.
Yep.
All right, Brennan, it's your go.
No, it's Squid the next in rotation,
Oh,
or Venti next in
wait.
rotation. My
Oh,
bad. I'm
No,
very
no, it's
sorry.
Brennan, Vente, Nick.
No, it's Venti.
Ye-
No, Venti went first.
Oh fuck. Okay,
Wait,
I'm
yeah,
totally
I
wrong.
did. I completely forgot. Okay, all right. I feel a little weird because
Organizes battle.
you guys
Okay.
kind of blew it out of the water with your guys' first number one villains, and mine is just the Miracle / the Higher Wills from Blasphemous. Now, quick question: have any of you even played or know
No.
what Blasphemous is?
Nope.
No.
Okay, all right. This
You
is
have
a little
four,
complicated.
man.
I'm gonna make this concise, but there needs to be set up for this to make any sort of sense. So, the lore of the land is that everybody's fervorously religious. Thus the name Blasphemous. Anyway, long story short, you play as the Pensance, yes, that word. The Pensance one. I can't. fucking-
Penance?
Yes, that. I can't say it reliably. And throughout the whole game, a lot of the of what
essentially the whole general gist is that you essentially pray for more. Can't remember. Okay, so you pray for more pain in exchange for like. This is okay. I can't really explain this on past the surface level, and it's probably going to be shoddy at best. But essentially, a lot of what it revolves around is pain, but they always refer to it as the miracle. And whenever they get pain, even though that's the only thing people pray for, it's a little complicated. They always question like, what did they do wrong? You know, because they always treat it as this high deity, shingamajabber. And just throughout the game, all of the bosses in one way or another, except for one, are directly influenced by the miracle. There's the Voices of the Dead, which is essentially... there's also Spanish religious influences in this game too, so I'm gonna butcher those, but that's my bad. But and again, I'm just trying to recap so I can get to the important part of this stuff. So there's the Voices of the Dead, which are your essentially she's basically just the keeper of souls, if you will, if you want to like really get down to simple terms. I can't remember what the boss's name is exactly, but there was this lady that was really beautiful, and so they associated her with the miracle and thus the religion as a whole, and she got this whole following, and she couldn't take she was like consumed by the guilt of that or something, and so she burned her face with oil. This game's pretty morbid, and well, not morbid, but it's very
Morbid.
Fucking Jesus!
It is morbid, you know. Anyway, but the miracle saw the act of her burning her face and was like, I vibe with that, and so now her face is or half of her face is constantly on fire, and the people looked at her face that was constantly on fire, and they're like, oh shit, God, and so the cycle repeated. Which I feel bad about laughing about that, but yeah.
Imagine trying to reject God, but he likes your idea.
So that's
And he's
one of
like,
the bosses.
you know what? Good shit.
And then, let's see. Another one of the bosses is, I can't remember the context for it, which I feel bad about because context is kind of important for the bosses, but I'm not going to worry about it too much.
Is it all the bosses, or is just a particular one you're talking about here as your number one?
Oh, this is just setting the stage for why I like this boss. So I'll let you know when I start talking about the boss, or well, not. I guess it's technically a boss, but the villain. There's this other boss that has their own head ages backwards, but they have a growth that's almost like a Siamese twin, if you will, but it's a lot more non-human-esque, if you will, that grows out of their chest and it ages forward. And at the stage that you reach this boss, the one aging forward bursts out of the chest, essentially, and that's that boss. And there's a lot of other context I'm skipping over because a lot of them don't have... It's too complicated to explain why the overarching theme is important. But those were the ones I wanted to talk about. And one last one before the main one, and that is... I can't remember a lot of the names because they have like really complicated names, and I really need to catch up on this game, but because I really love this game, but I'm rusty on it. But there is I think it's essentially in one way or another a body of a holy deity, and it's dead. The deity is dead. It's been dead for like a while, but
the thing is that the boss of this deity is a bunch of hands of the congregation, or the giant hands, that occasionally will like try to crush you, so you dodge them. But its body is being paraded around by the ex-followers of the deity, which I think is just a really cool idea. Because like that concept, like I get it's been done before to a certain extent, but just like the way it's executed in Blasphemous, I love it, especially with the vibe of the whole world. But going to the main part I wanted to talk about with the miracle and the higher wills, it gets a bit complicated as to whether or not the higher wills made the miracle or if the miracle made the higher wills. But to explain what the miracle even is essentially, I should have explained this at the start, but that's on me, is a intangible thing that will grant prayers, as mentioned earlier with the oil lady. And all of the reason all the people pray for suffering is because that's what the miracle grants. The miracle grants suffering. That's mainly what it does. And I'm simplifying a lot of this so I can get through. And the higher wills are a set of 3 faces that are essentially conjoined together, and they are constantly crying golden tears, and they
They're after the bag.
they their whole thing is that they have all of the praying set up for suffering, so that way they can keep their power. And I think in one way or another they keep the miracle in check or something, or they now control it or something. I can't quite remember how it works because the game never directly states any of this, because it's one of those types of game. It's not necessarily like Dark Souls levels of like vagueness, but it's very just kind of like you get the pieces and the game lets you figure it out. And their whole thing is that, yeah, they essentially use the townsfolk as a conduit for suffering, and in the ending that's considered the good ending, the main character kills the main guard of the miracle or something like that. Something to do with like religious, I can't quite remember, but either way, you kill them, and then you take their place as the centerpiece of the religion. As for what is, I think it's called like the Great Wooded One or something.
I
'Cause, yeah.
remember being the Great Wooded One. That was back in high school, though.
And the whole cycle repeats because in order for the cycle to end, somebody has to take the sword out of your chest and kill you with it,
Like David
or
Jones.
something like that. Again, simplifying. I really wish I could not have this be a crash course, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, but the true ending is where you even get to see the higher wills and actually get to understand how any of the whole miracle thing and how a lot of the game works. And the main reason I like the villain so much is just because it's such a... I mainly like the spectacle of it, because it's very... A lot of things in this game are just downright horrifying, because a lot of the prayers that are granted is like, since it only grants suffering, a lot of the... a good example is the first miracle. The thing that's called the first miracle that was granted was a boy that was sitting on a log, and he wished that he felt pain, so that way the pain in his heart could be lessened. And so the miracle twisted his body. It's in essentially a crucifix-esque state to the log he was sitting on. And, you know, from there on, people are just all like, hey, you can make a religion out of this.
As people so
And-
often do.
And,
You can call it Tuesday without starting a religion.
a lot of there's also, in order to, it's slightly complicated in order to even get to the boss, but I like one of my favorite things about the boss, though, is it just kind of, I don't even necessarily like this boss or this character or villain because of how complicated they are. It's the same reason. It's because they're one-dimensional, but it's in a sense that's very cosmically horrifying, if that makes sense. Because, like, if you think about it, like if you're in this world, there's nothing you can even do about it if you're just vibing, because there's just this fucking council, if you will, that's just like has all the strings already attached. And it's not even just like death and like horrible living conditions, it's just like horrible like crimes against nature type shit. And I don't know, for whatever reason, it just gets to me. I can't, it like kind of, I don't know. I
I
don't.
get it. I vibe with a
Yeah.
cabal of terrible, awful monstrosities.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I think everybody vibes with a cabal of terrible, awful monstrosities
Well,
a little bit.
that's partially going to be what I'm talking about, something like that. So don't worry, I get you.
Okay, yeah. It's. I mainly like it because this is my closing statement. But the main reason I really like it is because it's essentially just like there's no redeeming quality about it. You understand it, but doesn't make it in any way redeemable. But there's no redeeming quality about it, and you take pride when you finally do get to kill said monstrosity. Spoilers, by the way. I think that goes without saying at this point. But
So
Just
what was the name of the
the-
monstrosity again?
the higher wills / the miracle, because the game's really weird.
Okay.
So it's very complicated.
So kind of like the Elden Beast in concept, like you're fighting like a
but a lot.
deific outer god or something.
Or like
Yeah,
anything from
yeah, but it's a
Bloodborne.
lot more benevolent. Like it is directly benevolent, not just its existence makes
Doesn't sound
shit
benevolent.
You mean malevolent?
Malevolent. My bad.
Yeah.
Right. I always mix those two up because
Yeah, it would be more like the formless mother if that is what we were fighting.
Yeah.
yeah, that's actually a really good analogy.
Like the
It
Lord
doesn't-
of Blood and that kind of
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, a lot like that. A lot like the Lord of Blood, except more cosmically horrifying simply by its nature. But my closing statement is that the main reason I like it is because it's it's just, you know, irredeemable, but it's not just like something like, say, I mean, I could say anything from 40k, but I'm mainly going to use Tyranids. It's not just consume, and I get Tyranids technically are a tad more complicated than just consume.
No, they're not.
Well, yeah, but they're a hive mind and they consume. That's what I mean by a tad more
Yeah,
complicated. But,
Yeah, they are complicated, not their motivations.
well, if we're going to be politically correct, because it's a hive mind, but
That's true.
that's
Correct.
neither here nor there.
But they're animalistic. This is knowing what you're doing is wrong. and doing it regardless.
It's holding on to fleeting power. I guess it's not even necessarily fleeting power anymore. It's holding on.
It's cruelty for the sake of cruelty, not
Yeah.
cruelty for the sake of, well, it's an animal.
Yeah, it's just a lot of what I said. You kind of have to play the game to understand. Not you don't even have to, not to understand, but the extent of the miracle. Like calling it the miracle feels so weird because of what it does. And again, I dumbed it down a lot. It's a tad more complicated than just only prayers of suffering and it only answers suffering. But there's a lot of truth in the statement of that it only answers prayers of suffering, and all of its, grants are that in one way or another cause a cycle of suffering, so that way the higher wills can keep their god-like form.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's you now, Brennan.
The opposite of that. My top villain is the fucking Dirt from Power Wash Simulator. Holy shit.
Oh my god. Is that actually what you're going with?
He did say he was going to have a joke.
I said I was gonna have a joke.
An hour ago, I forgot about it.
Chekhov's joke. Chekhov's Power Washer. No, my real top villain has to be honestly an amalgamation of the JoJo villains,
Yeah.
because they all scratch that same itch for me, where it's like they fit their universe perfectly. None of them.
evil.
When the JoJo stands out there will fall to the which chapters you are falling to.
So this will be chapters, the ones that have been made into an anime so far as 1 through 5, because I have not finished part 5 yet, or part 6.
Yeah, the
Part
JoJo
6
villains are just so good.
The literal.
Oh, that's on the bingo card too. If we talk about JoJo,
The little or only JoJo villain I'm iffy about is the monkey, but even then, the way he gets dealt with, I'm like.
No, we're talking about the
overarching.
overarching big villain. Not small fries.
Oh.
Like
no,
Dio,
not the
like
Dio, Diablo,
Diablo,
This makes a
Kira,
lot more sense.
Pillar
Pillarman.
Alright.
The Pillar Man!
I love the boys.
Dun, dun,
My
dun, dun,
boys.
Dio,
dun,
Element,
The
Dio,
boys.
Kira, Diavolo. Those are the
Yeah.
ones that-
Those are the ones that I'm touching on.
what's his name?
Poochie is part 6, but I have not finished part 6, so
Well,
I
I mean, no
I'm
one
not
has.
denouncing Poochie,
Don't-
it's just
Though,
hasn't seen
I mean, I think he makes the status just because of I need to stay calm. Let's count the prime number. So it's like fucking
that's
punching the
pretty
shit
good.
out of frogs.
But it is a good show.
Oh my god.
but they fit their universe perfectly, even if they're all mostly one-dimensional. Even if I dislike how some of them are beaten, like how Dio in part 3 is beaten,
Yeah.
he just kind of loses his mind after he gets the Joestar blood. And Caleb didn't know what I really meant until he went back and watched it again. He was like, "Yeah, I kind of see what you mean." Like, he kind of loses that imposing intelligence and charisma,
Yeah, he
and just goes crazy.
But
which-
I kind of like that because
Not,
In a
it's not
why
bad.
he loses. Like he needs that to lose, otherwise he's
Yeah, exactly.
and also
It's-
because like throughout JoJo's vampirism, which is and I think we're really seeing it come out at the end there, he has been the villain. Like vampirism, at least for the first bit,
Vampirism is the
it,
villain.
and the reason why I say that is because they use it in such a way of being like, hey, it's not that someone who is a vampire is bad, it's that people who are bad seek this power. Like it's more often that you're gonna find a vampire who's already a bad person than it is the opposite. And like I feel like it's almost like Dio devolving back into that like base state that I kind of do like. I understand why you don't vibe with it, but I personally like it, but I they could have done it better.
Well, no, that's what I mean. It's very well done for what it is and what it has to be, and for the show it's in. I just don't like, because Dio is that overbearing. He's that pure evil character.
He's the corked up white boy. Busted
He's a
down
corked up
sexual
white boy
style.
goated with the sauce.
And he is
but
very goated with the sauce.
I don't like that they did it to the character, but narratively it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, from a narrative and
No,
lore
but, like-
perspective, it's pretty much fine. It's just I like Dio that I like the character, and I wish it didn't have to be written like that. Almost.
Yeah.
It is important to note that, like, as powerful as Dio is, in Pulp 3 specifically, they had to nerf him because, like, he is actively not as powerful as he should be based
Yeah,
on
he's
what
not using any of his vampire powers.
Well, he's using
And as-
regeneration, but yeah,
As sad as that
But you
is,
don't
having
use that.
watching Cult 1, seeing how cool Dio can be, and then seeing him like do only half of that things and replace them all with new things, it is sort of necessary to beat him. But also, like, it is part of his characterization, right? He's arrogant. He's full of
He's-
himself. He
he's
doesn't need all
godly.
the powers. He's got the godly power of the stand.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the power that trumps all. But if he was using all of his others, he would have beat Jotaro. Even if Jotaro could stop time.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because Jotaro was never taught Hamon. Which, I really like that little mini matchup of Dio versus Joseph, right in that, right before the Dio versus Jotaro. Dio goes to try and kill him, like, conventionally, but can't. Because Joseph's covered himself with Hamon and Hermit Purple. It's like a suit of armor, almost.
Yeah.
And I really like that they brought back a dead mechanic and a dead storytelling piece and plot device against a villain who has disregarded what those things are good against.
Yeah.
It's very nice that they brought it back like that.
Very, very nice.
Very, very nice. But yeah, that's mine. Not to be understated, the dirt from Power Wash Simulator. Fuck
that dirt.
If we want to talk about powerful villains, like, this is a villain that's already taken over the whole world. Like,
Well, you know what? You're right.
like
This
like
is
you load up a level in
dust.
this game and it's just
I hate
fucking
dust.
cover. It's fucking
Oh.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
now I almost want to swap my choice to the main villain of Kill la Kill because it's actually very similar to that.
yeah,
so-
the whole reason I say that is because I have been playing Power Wash Simulator
Oh yeah.
because
baby.
it takes zero concentration. I'm just spray water.
Oh yeah. All right.
No, you gotta
so,
do it in a certain pattern.
all right. So you're done though, Brennan?
Yes, that my number one is the collection of JoJo villains, but specifically Dio for that.
So originally I was going to go with Nagash from Warhammer Fantasy. And there's reasons why I could go with Nagash, but I'm gonna go with the Skaven. Because the Skaven do everything that Nagash
go.
does, but to a much more chaotic extent. So the reason why I'm calling an entire race a villain is because they fucking are. They like their whole race is just villainous. Like if I wanted to give you a Clip Notes version of why they're such a good villain, they are paranoid schizophrenic rats that have better technology than everyone else, yet have more population than everyone else, yet haven't won because they're too busy being paranoid and killing each other.
Also me.
It's literally Wisconsin.
It Okay,
Dude,
that was
Roasting.
good. But the Skaven are hilarious. So, like I said, they're a bunch of rats. They're and they're everything you would think of with rats. They're super cowardly. They run away from any fight, even that they can win. At like the first hint of danger. The only reason they don't is because they're stronger rats with guns pointed at them. That's the other thing. We are in a fantasy setting with Warhammer Fantasy. Sure, there are guns. There are, like, pistols and rifles. But the Skaven have fucking Gatling guns. Which they call rattling guns, which is incredible.
My face when Warpstone.
Yeah, when Warpstone... Basically, every other race is like, you see this Warpstone stuff? We don't fucking touch that. Because Warpstone is, like, actually so, like, problematic. Warpstone is like crystallized energy from the warp, which is where demons come from. Like it is just like crystallized. It's like hell crystals. You don't fuck with that. And the Skaven are like,
Argent energy.
yeah, and the Skaven are like, what if I
Yeah.
put that in a gun to make
That's
it
a
work?
good example. Holy shit, Brennan.
Yeah, the Skaven
Thank
are
you,
not
I'm
only
intelligent.
like that. They use it like currency. They eat it sometimes. Okay, they will
Yeah.
they will literally crack this shit up and snort it like cocaine. Like, the rats are incredible. And they end up doing some of the greatest shit in the trilogy. Or not in the trilogy. I'm thinking of the games. In the, in, like, Warhammer Fantasy lore, of anyone. They fucking tractor beam the moon closer to, the planet, which is incredible. Like, they tractor beam the moon. Their god kills one of the fucking Chaos Gods, eats their corpse, and becomes the 4th Chaos God.
Which is so cool, by the way.
Yeah, and the Skaven team up and the end with, Chaos. Also, the Skaven have fucking nukes. They have nukes in a fantasy setting. Which they used several times. Remember when I mentioned Nagash? Yeah, Nagash was about to fucking end the world, and every time he was, the Skaven nuked the shit out of the pyramid he was using and absolutely blew it to pieces. Because the Skaven are incredible. My only complaint with the Skaven is that, their writing, they don't get enough shit done. They have this, like, technology to get stuff done, and I understand it's because they're fighting each other a lot, and they're just chaotic, but, like, we see them get shit done in the end times, and I wish we would see more of that. But the Skaven are, like, the mad scientist, crackheads, and they bring... They're a villain that you end up rooting for because you don't know what the fuck they're gonna do, and they're so... like, they're evil. They are just evil. There is no other way of putting... like, if the Skaven show up somewhere, they're fucking someone over, without fail. But unlike... and this is why I love the Skaven... unlike other, like, evil entities or evil groups where they show up and fuck someone over, or fuck a group over, etc., the Skaven always inadvertently fuck everyone, including themselves, over when they try to fuck something up. Like, every single time. They'll like, launch a nuke, and it will blow up immediately in their face and kill the other army and all of their army, too. Like, shit like this, they're incredible because they're this wild card that actually gets used like a wild card all the time within the setting. And I absolutely love it. Their lore is terrifying. They're absolutely terrifying. Because, I mean, think about, you know, a city where... there's 100 times, for every one person, 100 times that many rats beneath you. They're man-sized with, intelligent weapons and stuff. That's fucking scary.
Yeah, and they're also munching on warpstone.
Yeah, and they're also munching on hell energy, right? And it causes them to mutate and get stronger. Like, anyone else it would cause to fucking die, and the Skaven gets stronger off of this shit. They're just they're like the memeiest race, and of any sort of, like, fantasy race, they're one of the most unique I've ever seen because of this, and that's why I really would give them my top villain status, because they bring to the table this unpredicted... They're like... this is gonna be hilarious to say it, because of the memes. They're like the Joker as a race, except... I know, they're like the Joker, except take the Joker and make them more chaotic, and
Morbius.
like take the Joker, because the Joker's actually a pretty smart villain. Like, the Joker is chaotic, but he's pretty smart. Take the Joker.
Well, referring to the Dark Knight Joker specifically.
Yeah.
Any Joker, a lot of the Jokers.
We're
Jokers.
talking about a lot of the Jokers, save for the one from the movie Joker, in which it was more of an explanation of a broken mental state rather than the genius behind what is typically the character of the Joker.
Yeah. It like the Joker comes across as someone who is like, their sanity's been broken, but that doesn't mean they're not intelligent, right? Mm-hmm. But, like, the Skaven come across that, but they're so much more chaotic. They're so much more chaotic, and I absolutely love it, because they throw a wrench into anything they get into be a part of. They just absolutely fuck everything. Like I said, they join the actual armies of chaos in the end times. They're like, fuck it, yeah, we'll do that. and they just join them. And that's part of the reason why the end times kick off, because Chaos doesn't have the forces to just take over the world, and then all of a sudden they have 100 times more forces than they need to take over the world because the Skaven join. It's just mwah. They're great. They're funny. They have a hilarious speech pattern. It's just they're great. They're great. I love them. They're hilarious. They're just incredibly evil, and they're unpredictable and completely chaotic. There you go, Jordan.
I feel like we skipped Nick.
Did we?
Did we skip me? I can't remember what the order is.
Villain is Caleb for stealing Nick's spot in the station.
Okay. Sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
Wait, okay. I have a runner-up, which I will spend almost no time about because I don't want to spoil this one actually. My runner-up, my honorable mention is the main villain from Exandria Unlimited Calamity, the couple of session-long D&D campaign run by Brennan Lee Mulligan on Critical Role's channel. I enjoy it so much. It's one of the best things I've ever watched that I actually won't spoil who the villain is, but the main villain of that story is done incredibly well. And in the last episode, this is the only spoil I'll give you, they spend 1 hour of real game time enacting 1 second of game time. So that's a thing.
So that sounds like a typical D&D night.
My real top one for this list is the Nogitsune / Dark Styles from Teen Wolf. So I need a little bit of Teen Wolf Season 3. I need a little bit of explanation of this because it's going to start by sounding weird. Teen Wolf is a TV show that was made based off of an 80s movie. Like this 80s movie, Teen Wolf, is like
With Michael J. Fox.
With Michael J. Fox, it's kind of a movie about a guy who becomes a werewolf, right? Well, the series is a little bit more serious and fluctuates how serious it is. But this first season is like you've got these two best friends, Scott and Styles, and Scott gets bit by a werewolf. Ooh, and then there's a werewolf running around town that's evil, and Scott's trying to figure out how he can be a werewolf teenage boy. And then he falls in love with this girl named Allison, but Allison's parents are werewolf hunters. They've come to hunt the werewolf. So he's like,
why do I remember this movie?
He's a werewolf from his girlfriend's parents. And then season 2 is like more of the same. There's more werewolves in town, and also there's more hunters in town, and there's something else ruining things.
And there's an arsonist who lights up on day 5.
Yeah. But then season 3... Season 3 is a little bit different. There's sort of 2 parts to season 3. In season 3, part 1, there's the serial killer going around killing people in what are effectively rituals. They collect like 3 of a kind of people and kill them. So the first time they kill 3 virgins, then they kill like 3 like protectors, or I don't remember all of the people they kill, but like kill people in groups of 3 to awaken this tree stump, which is like this prison for magic called Powell. And it's like it's sort of holstering all of this magic, and she's trying to awaken it. And so the last set of people that she needs to kill, all like the 3 main characters' parents, they all happen to have jobs that are like the protector role, because one's like a nurse, one's the police chief, and the last one is a monster hunter. So they're like going to be like, they've been kidnapped and are going to be ritually sacrificed. So the kids end up doing this counter ritual where they temporarily die, succeed the ritual back to life so their parents don't have to die. But in doing so, the ritual is complete and all of them get PTSD of some like various forms of PTSD. And the magic is unleashed and things start happening. And so the werewolf got his PTSD by season 3 he gains control of his powers better, but then he starts losing it again after PTSD. Allison, she was training to be a monster hunter, and now she has shaky hands. She can't aim straight. She can't do whatever. And Styles, he's this normal kid, but he's small. He's whenever there's a mystery, he's the one who works on solving the mystery. His job is always figuring out the problems. And he has this really, really trippy series of episodes where he can't tell if he's awake or if he's asleep.
Ooh.
And it'll be full length scenes of him talking with someone, and then he'll wake up into a perfectly normal looking situation. And then he'll wake up again. And like you can literally never tell if he's on screen, if what you're seeing is a dream or if it's
So
reality.
Nick, what you're telling me is it's just Inception.
Yeah, sort of. It is a
Okay.
very trippy part of this show where just whenever he's on screen, you literally don't know if what's happening is real or not. But there's this. We learned that these new supernatural entities come on town called the Kitsune, which are like Japanese fox spirits. And there's one who's a super ancient protector, and then there's her daughter who is just learning that she's a Kitsune. And they learn that these like shadowy ninjas start appearing around town and like accosting the supernatural entities, and then like either leaving them alone or briefly fighting them until they disappear. And when they eventually like confront the old Kitsune to be like, what's going on? She's like, yeah, I summoned them here. They're called the Oni. They're looking for this evil fox spirit called the Nogitsune, which is like a nightmare creature. It's awful. We know that there's one around here got released when the tree woke up. So they're trying to figure out who's the Nogitsune is like hiding as someone. They're trying to figure out what's going on, what's up with it. And there was like the Nogitsune is like doing these like mini terrorist attacks on the school. Like they blew up a bus. Like they know like it's been terrorizing the school, but no one's been able to figure out who exactly it is and what's going on. So they at this bus explosion, the Styles goes and he does his detective work. He like figures out what needed to be done, what the MO of the killer is, whatever. They think they figure out who like the guy must have been who put the bomb on the bus. But then they like go to the science room and there's like some evidence like lined up. There's like someone was doing equations that line up with it. And then there's like writing on the chalkboard. And he like goes up to the chalkboard and he copies the writing down exactly, and it's a perfect, flawless match. And so he goes to his friends and are like, okay, this is gonna sound weird, but I matched up the writing on the chalkboard with my writing, and it's a perfect match. And the bomb that they used was like a variation of a prank that I pulled earlier this year. I think I might be the bad guy, and everyone's like, "That's silly. That can't possibly be true." And then a couple episodes later, the Oni are out looking for the Nogitsune, and they accost Styles. And Styles is a normal person; they shouldn't care about him. And they go to do the scanning thing, and then he grabs its arm, breaks it, and just kills all three of them that are accosting him. And so I was like, oh no, the jokey like best friend character, he's secretly the bad guy this whole time. And then he like keeps pretending to be on be the good guy for a while, and then he like stabs his best friend with a sword, being like, "Oh, you really shouldn't trust people so much, Scott. It's really gonna get you killed one day." And then just like this character who was this like best friend character is just fully evil. Everyone's like Styles, we want to help. He's like, ha, 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 ha. And he just beats them all up. He kills some people. They tase him. He just like grabs the taser, it electrocutes him, and he just does this great performance of like this complete 180 tone shift of like, no, 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 I'm the bad guy now, and you're all screwed because you cannot stop me. It's great. It's one of the best like good guy character turned villain character swaps that I've ever seen. It's so well done too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something to be said about
Swaps.
like the fallen good guys rather than the redeemed bad guys, because I feel like I see the redeemed bad guys so much more than I see the fallen hero.
Or at least a good fallen hero, anyway.
Yeah, a good fallen hero.
Yeah,
One
'Cause
that's
it's
not
like-
either
True.
a caricature or just hollow.
Well, like, I don't want to really put it out there, but like Dracula. Dracula, in a sense, is, I mean, he wasn't a hero, but he was a good person that fell.
He has an arc
Yeah.
similar to a
His-
fallen hero
yeah.
arc, and it's a really, really good one. Like that's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. Where with like if it's done well, it's phenomenal. But if you don't put proper depth and proper care into it, it just becomes fucking useless.
Yeah.
It,
It's
it
actu-
becomes actively damaging.
It's actually that exact sort of thing is why I like Warhammer 40k and 40k more than fantasy for this, but like Warhammer 40k, not all of them because they're not all well written, but Warhammer 40k, because of the nature of the Chaos Gods and how they slowly corrupt you and turn you into a bad person, there is some phenomenal like falls from grace of characters that
Oh yeah.
are just like they go from being such paragons of virtue and goodness to just like absolute terrible people, just like
Oh, yeah.
the worst of the worst. It's great.
So more about this. I won't say too much more, but they do end up splitting him apart. So they have the good version back, and the bad version is just out there doing things at the same time. And they stop him eventually, but like the final, what they end up doing is sort of every season sort of has like a big villain and then like a smaller villain for part of it. And the last like big monster villain of the show is like this weird Medusa thing that it's haunted to stone if you look at it, but it can mimic your worst feels to like goad you into looking certain ways. And when it's going up against our main character in the literal final confrontation, he's hiding in the library, and the thing when it transforms into Scott's worst feels, two of his worst feels are Dark Styles and then Nogitsune's true form when they like whip it out of him. And those all like because they're so like that fight was so significant, like that part of all of the actual fights like that they end up doing, that part was so like meaningful and scarring. Like, oh yeah, and his best friend betraying him left such a scar on his mind. Well, that when the final villain had to come and make a callback to it because it was the only one of the few things he actually was scared of in the whole show.
Oh, that's awesome. Jordan,
Hi, I'm
the-
here.
for the alleged
Finale.
quick finish.
Yeah.
The alleged quick finish. We talked about Fallen Angels,
Fastest hand in the
Which-
West.
and we're talking about Fastest Hand of the West. How did you know? You read
Apparently.
my mind like a book. We're talking about Red Dead 2. Okay?
Wait,
My
really?
All-time
Okay.
favorite villain? Well,
Tuberculosis.
technically they're all villains, but
It's
Close.
my
the
all-time
cold.
favorite
The cold and
my all-time favorite villain is gotta be Dutch Vanderlyn.
bro, I haven't
The-
finished it.
I'm not gonna spoil nothing.
No, go ahead. It's been long enough. I should have finished it by now.
Okay,
Well,
then I will
mean,
spoil
To be
it.
fair, everyone you play as in Red Dead Redemption, the whole posse is technically villains if you get down to it.
Exactly, but he's also the main villain in Red Dead 1. And-
yeah.
And this Red Dead 2 is a prequel to Red Dead 1, so naturally you'll watch him progress
Progress into like a shittier and shittier person.
to be the villain that he has to be for the first game. So, like the game begins with Dutch having to call upon everyone, right? He's like, "Oh man, shit's tough out there. It's a
Where's
cold
your
world out there.
goddamn faith, Arthur?
I got a plan.
Please
Arthur.
stop doubting me, Arthur.
I got a plan, Arthur.
Follow
I
the
just need-
plan."
$2 million in taxpayer dollars.
If we just need $2,000, I can get that like in 5 minutes. Chill. No. So he's like rounding up the entire group, and they're up in like the mountains. It's fucking freezing cold. They're dying. They're hungry. They're cold. They're all the bad ailments.
They're dying squared.
They're dying cubed, dog. There's
shit.
layers.
The dying
Uh,
from death.
And you
It's-
can actually see like his genuine like concern for the group, right? He wants them secure, right? That
Yeah.
he's made his mark in the first 5 minutes of the game. That like
Yeah.
He's
he
a
is
good
a
guy.
good guy. Because
Well,
they knew, the developers knew
You
when.
got a kiss on the lips now. You said it at the same time.
Aw. The developers knew as soon as you saw Dutch after seeing the first game, you're gonna be like, I hate him, right? You
Yeah.
like I'm gonna try and kill him. So they had to make sure like you fell for him as soon as you saw him. Like as soon as like he made his intentions clear, like, oh, I
Yeah,
can't
and
wait
they
to see
didn't-
how this devolves into madness.
And
You
they,
know.
and they didn't low shot it by making it cheap either. They like made it like actually like
No, yeah, there is-
genuine.
Yeah, like I
Care.
haven't beat the game, and I was surprised because I didn't play the first one. I was like, wait, Dutch is a bad guy, and I'm like a little over halfway through the game, and like there are
Yeah.
things about Dutch that I'm like, that's not the best, but like overall he's still a good character.
Yeah.
right.
So to hear this is like, wow, they've done a good job.
Yeah, and like he like makes a major shift. Like not even the end of Red Dead 2, he's not even the same Dutch as he is in Red Dead 1 at the end of Red Dead 2. Like he still has some developing to do before he becomes like the asshole and main antagonist of the first game. So like it's not even done. Like that's not even where it ends for him. But and then there is a point where it kind of snaps, but I bet that's intentional because there is like a significant point, and you can probably point at it in like the timeline where he makes that kind of weird switch into like the dude, you're not being the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he progresses further and further, and he's like, oh cool, like we're gonna get better, we're gonna find money, we're gonna go somewhere warm, we're gonna live our life happy. But then like the law enforcement shows up and they're like, oh
Yeah.
man, cozy camp you got here, Dutch. And he's like, oh dip. And much like as he makes his progression throughout the game, he's much like a cornered tiger,
Yeah.
where he's become dangerous to not only to people chasing him, but to his group and to himself.
It's almost like Walter White from Breaking Bad,
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah, where he kind of just gives up.
where you're like
Kind of.
seeing the change in a human being.
Yeah.
Right, and you're giving up your morality more for your own self.
Yeah.
Where there's more self. He wants to preserve his own life by the end of the game, right? Like you'll see him sacrifice people, like without a second
Yeah.
thought, as like he progresses with his own self. But in the beginning of the game, he even says like, I would be dead if it meant like homies could still be alive. Like I would take their place. Like that.
Homies, the quote. Those are his exact words.
Dutch Vanderlyn, 1880 whatever.
I think that's the title of the.
So you homies could live. Oh no, but and I just like how his character like slow, and with his relationship with Arthur Morgan, the protagonist, the player character. They go way back, and you don't need to know that. You can tell by the way they speak to one another.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, like, and Arthur would be like, I love you like a father, and Dutch is like, I love you like a son, blah blah blah, and I'm like, Caleb, I love you like a, never mind.
Hey baby, after show. It's gonna get hot and spicy and gingery in the soup.
In the soup.
Dude, God, none of you are allowed in my soup.
Yo, Caleb, can I join
Oh,
in on
man.
the soup?
Bro.
But like by the end of the game, Dutch starts saying like, Arthur, like, are you like feeling okay? Like, are you trusting my judgment, kind of thing? And
Yeah, I've
meanwhile,
gotten to that point.
You've been blatantly following his orders this whole time. Like as the player character, that's frustrating, right? So you feel it too. You're like, Dutch,
Yeah.
what the hell, dude? Like, I've been
Yeah.
doing the things you've asked, and he's like, you don't do anything I ask. Like what? It's just
Man,
like,
you just like an abusive stepfather.
yeah, it's like when it's like you're
I will slam you against the table.
I was about to say, I know a thing or two.
it's like your mom says like clean your room when you're a kid, and you do it, and you do it without being asked. So you're like, I already did it, and she's like, are you back talking me, boy? And then like
Boy.
throws you out the window.
Boys.
Boys,
Fellas. Lads.
lads.
Boy, 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 boy.
But yes, the long and short of it is,
Boys.
oh,
The
guys.
boys.
The long and short.
Notably, we did not bring up Tom Landell, but notably, he is a villain and not an anti-hero. Just wanted to put that out there.
He is who?
Homelander, the main villain of the
Oh,
boys.
Homelander,
Some people
yeah,
don't realize that, but it's very
What?
true.
Caleb, what time are we even running right now?
3
Uh,
hours.
We're no. We're about 2.5 hours.
Okay, that's not that bad.
Jesus, that's longer than the Pokemon one.
That's fine.
manageable.
This is good. This is
Yeah.
good content. And now we know that next time we should just, if we're going to do a top 3 list, we do that from the beginning and nothing
Yeah,
else.
definitely from the beginning.
Yeah, we
And
did.
and keep it brief. Brief. Fuck, it's getting tired.
Keep your briefs on, dude.
All right. Come on, Jordan, wrap it up.
This is it. That was it. I like.
That was
I-
it.
Okay,
That's what we're
good.
doing. We're
Thank you for
talking
joining. Okay,
Yeah,
shut
have
the
a
fuck
good one,
up.
everybody.
No, Brandon, shut up. Thank you for joining us. It means a lot to me that you made it this far. Thank you, our special guest Vente, for joining us. Vente, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Vente.
Venti.
Vente.
You're
There we
welcome.
go.
I don't know what to say. You can't put the spotlight on me like that.
All right,
just-
we will see you
Get the
next
video
time.
on.
Hold on.
Welcome.
Before you sign us out, Caleb, I just want to say comments. If you want us to do shorter, we will. But if you want us to do longer, let us know.
And we won't. Although I can get longer
want
for
the
you comments.
If you want to do rival
stay
Clinton
longer.
reviews to do like
I'll
12-hour-long videos, let us know.
God,
Yep,
please,
no.
for the love of
All
God,
right.
No.
Also, before
Have a
you
good one,
end it,
everybody.
because I know you've made it this far, hi Griffey.
Aww.
Aw.
Aw.
Because
Oh
I
my-
made it this far, what's up?
Oh, you know what's great? I could say that about someone. Never mind.
Yeah,
Bye.
you know
All right.
what? No,
See you guys.
Bye.
But everything reminds you of her.